What's up, everybody? You're live at the Prodigy. It's another great episode of the Mansplaining podcast. It's been quite a while since we've done one because with this particular network, I have a network, Prodigy Brand Inc. For people that want to know, TJ the Prodigy on YouTube. That's TJDA Prodigy. We talk about all issues from social, human, health, athletic, sports, politics. We're just not one-trick ponies. We can talk about everything. Even though our base is combat sports and entertainment, we could talk about real life stuff that affects us every day, like politics. And boy, are we at diametrically opposed parts of the spectrum in the world right now. Everybody's extreme. Nobody meets in the middle. It's no balance. And we'll talk about a lot of that tonight. It is a war going on online. And I like talking about politics occasionally. I don't talk about it all the time. I only talk about the stuff that I'm interested in talking about. And this is something I've been wanting to give opinion on for quite a while in the midst of Donald Trump running for or claiming he's going to run for president again in 2024. It looked like that's going to, be on the back burner for now. With these 34 counts against him. And we're going to read all those details right now in the show. But before we get to that, we also got Vince McMahon to talk about the super huge merger. And, of course, we talked about this a bit yesterday on the Monday Night Report episode we did with Raw. It's a new day in WWE with WWE right now, all but being finalized with Endeavor Sports, which is a marketing and global entertainment company. Ariel Emanuel as the CEO of that. Vince McMahon is going to be involved now as 49% owner on the WWE side. Well, technically 31% with 19% control. But they made it clear that Vince is going to do the business side. The president is going to be Nick Khan. Triple H is going to be over creative, even though I disagree with that. We'll get into more than into detail. And then Dana White, of course, will run the UFC side of things. So it's good news with that. But, of course, Vince McMahon is at the crossfire online with all these allegations and hush money, which has been a story since July of 2022. But now with him being back, a lot of people are hot, which I don't know what they expected. We're going to get into all those things and much, much more. But welcome to the podcast. We're going to have a lot of cool people joining us tonight. Omari should be here in a second. Hopefully, Jason will be joining us. Old school Jason, because we got two Jasons now. Old school Jason from Texas. So air horns to everybody. And while we're waiting on Omari, who he said he got a lot to say, so I'm going to let him get a little heated. I already told him some of the rules that we're going to have on this, but I'm going to let him get a little fired up as he get on here because he's been wanting to talk about it. I understand when you're a bull in the cage and you have some things you want to talk about, sometimes you just kind of got to get them off your chest. And well, shout out to everybody, Marissa, JoJo, Brian, Sonic the Hedgehog, Victor Martinez. Who else we be having up here with us a lot? Fatal Charade, Billy Bob Ambrose, the whole clique, man. Shout out to everybody that's usually holding us down. We are the voice of the voiceless. We're adding balance in the world where everything's so extreme, so far leaning to the left right now. The right is extreme too, but the left is much more extreme. And, they're controlling a lot of the content right now. So that's what we got going on. A lot of cool stuff. Twitter, it's TJ Time 1991. Come have a great conversation with me every single day. It's TJ Time 1991. And, of course, on YouTube, TJ the Prodigy. With that said, let's get into this very controversial Donald Trump story. It is very polarizing, as is he a polarizing person. And right now, he's kind of in limelight. It's kind of dark here in my studio. I wasn't planning on getting on screen, so excuse me. That's why it's so dark. I'm chilling after work. I don't really feel like, turning on lights and all that stuff right now, which is why I got the thumbnail up. So right now, this is courtesy of New York Times explaining the charges against Donald Trump. This was produced. Was it produced today? It should have been. April 4th, 2023. The picture right here. Charges represent the culmination of allegedly nearly 5-year investigation. And they're talking about he manipulated the election. And this is a hot-ass story right here, man. This is... Trump might be in some serious trouble, man. Now, we can get into, is it fair? Is this right or wrong? We'll get into all of that later on. 34 counts. 1 second. Let me tag this up a little bit so we can have some people getting on talking about this. Then we'll talk about Donald Trump is definitely trending right now. WWE, UFC. We got that one. Or UFC, WWE. But, yeah, this is a hot-ass topic, and I'm about to get into this and much more in just a second. But Trump might be in some serious trouble. But it's going to be a lot of pushback. We'll talk about some of this Twitter stuff. So let's read this as it follows. Excuse me. So it says the former president faces 34 felony counts in connection with a hush money payment to porn star before 2016. I think that's about Stormy Daniels. Ironically, Vince McMahon was facing these hush money charges with a lot of different people. Charlene Chatterton, I think her name is, from the South, that said Vince McMahon. There are a lot of ex-wrestlers. But the big issue was, did Vince McMahon use public funds, which I believe he did, and then he had to pay some of that back, and he's publicly back. And a lot of people are upset, as they should be, in a situation like that. But my biggest thing is, why is everybody surprised that he's back? When you have money, you have a lot of control. To me, a lot of these issues are twofold for me. Like, I believe people are a little too egregious with the punishment. Sometimes the punishment don't fit the crime, or people are too crazy and they don't want people to get redemption. Yeah, it's bad, and we understand that a lot of powerful men get away with a lot of things, and they need to be addressed. But our problem right now in our country is everything is so extreme. It's very little balance, and these are things that we need to work out in our country right now. We're not doing a good job at it. A lot of people are hacking each other. Instead of having discourse and say, what is the issue? What is the problem? How can we fix this? How can we move forward as a nation? Everybody's extreme and just do crazy stuff. But let's get into this article. So this was courtesy, as I said, NewYorkTimes.com, and this was done by two people, by Ben Portis and Jonah E. Bromwich. So big ups to those people for putting this article out. Donald J. Trump pleaded not guilty on Tuesday today to 34 felony counts of falsifying business records in the first degree, all of which are tied to the former president role in a hush money payment to porn star Stormy Daniels. But the prosecutors in the Manhattan District Attorney's Office accused Mr. Trump of orchestrating a broader scheme to influence the 2016 presidential election. Y'all got to have proof if y'all going to put some heavy-ass allegations. Anybody that just came in the studio, give me a second. I'll let you in on the video, on the podcast when I finish reading this. Election by purchasing damaging stories about him to keep them under wraps. That's definitely believable. The shows like Ray Donovan hit on stuff like that, which I love the show Ray Donovan, by the way. The defendant, Donald J. Trump, falsified New York business records in order to conceal an illegal conspiracy to undermine the integrity of the 2016 presidential election. It seemed like he just didn't want to get slandered, because they probably, Hillary Clinton's campaign would have used that against him, of course. And man, this is some dirty, dirty stuff. This is better than some daytime drama shows that they're having a hard time even getting people to watch, because a lot of the writing's bad on shows now. One of the prosecutors, Chris Conroy, said at Mr. Trump's arraignment, here are two answers to some key questions that have arisen from Tuesday's events. Quote, what is Mr. Trump's accused of? The charges trace back to a $130,000 hush money payment that Mr. Trump's fixer, Michael D. Cohen, made to the porn star Stormy Daniels. I think dude's an attorney, too. In the final days of the 2016 campaign. The payment, which Mr. Cohen said he made at Mr. Trump's direction, pressed her story of sexual liaison she says she had with Mr. Trump. The crazy thing about this is $130,000 is a lot of money. He must have really not wanted her to talk, if any of this is true. Which in court, it'll do justice. If it's true, it'll come out. All I say is get everybody do the process. Yes, I know Trump's a headache. He's he's not self-aware at times. It's a lot of good stuff you say about him financially as well, and how good the country did under him as the president. He just needs somebody to fill. He needs a good PR person. That's a big problem with Trump, because I'm not an extreme person. I look at benefits of what people do and then crucify them for the best stuff they do. It's about balance, not having one extreme versus the other, which is an issue that we have in this country, as I opened up with. Anyway, continuing with this article. While serving as the commander-in-chief, Mr. Trump reimbursed Mr. Cohen, and that's where the fraud kicked in. The prosecutor says, in internal records, Mr. Trump's company classified the repayment to Mr. Cohen as legal expenses. Wow, that's going to be a trouble when you misaccount things, especially when you're a business owner. Citing as a retainer agreement, even though when it's private, that's a different story. Yet there were no such expenses. Excuse me. The prosecutor says, and the retainer agreement was fictional as well. Wow, they really doing it. They stepping in some deep shit with this stuff here, man. Trump might be done. Those records underpin the 34 counts of falsifying business records. 11 counts involved the checks, 11 center on monthly invoices Mr. Cohen submitted to the company, and 12 involved entries in the general ledger for Mr. Trump's. What is the felony? Or if it's going to be a felony. Falsifying business records can be charged as a misdemeanor offense. To elevate it to a felony, the district attorney, Alvin L. Bragg, must prove that Mr. Trump, quote, intent to defraud was in service of a second crime. See, this is where a lot of people get off when they commit crime. If you're like legal literate and you understand wording and things like that in your favor, this is how people get up. You have to understand, and this is what I talk about people, even in your own personal life, if you're in the middle of a crime. you have to know the law and understand how to make things that are weirdly worded and manipulating, which is the origin of the word a turn, to turn something out of context or misplace something. That's what a turn means, which is what attorneys do. A skilled attorney, they know how to make their client look innocent, even if they're not. So if you're smart, and I'm not encouraging anybody to commit crime, but a lot of these people get off this stuff because they know how to manipulate wording, and they know how to say, well, I didn't have intent. They'll focus on stuff like that. So Trump, even though it looks bad, I mean, he might have a chance, man. Him and Vince McMahon have some savage lawyers, man. These are two hard dudes to put down. If Weinstein wasn't so out of control and a sexual pervert, I think he would have got off on a lot of the allegations he had, because powerful men with money usually have great attorneys. But that's what the issue with a lot of this is. Okay, so let's keep going. In this case, it's unclear whether Mr. Bragg has settled on the specifics of the second crime, which is the attorney at the district attorney. During a news conference after the arrangement, Mr. Bragg mentioned a number of potential underlying crimes, most prominently a violation of state election law that bars any conspiracy to promote, quote, the election of a person to public office by unlawful means. So this is where Trump might get caught up at, right? This right here. Let's read this again. Mr. Bragg mentioned a number of potential underlying crimes, most prominently a violation of state election law that bars any conspiracy to promote the election. In other words, don't try to use stuff to get the permission. Don't be underhanded, even though people will do it. They try to make it seem fair, which I'm pretty sure in the past this happened a lot more than we think it is, where people manipulated the election to their favor. The thing is, not everybody has cameras. Everybody is a lot more, even though a lot of the stuff that these people do, these reporters do, irritate me. I do like the idea that they thoroughly investigate, or they try to ask the hard questions. You know, that's something I feel like a lot of the liberals don't evade from. They try to answer questions, and a lot of the Republicans are clever with how they, like Trump, like, I'm not answering that. He's going to be very dismissive because he's a powerful man. But after a while, that's going to catch up on you, especially when the world is becoming more and more less tolerant of boisterous type personalities. And Trump deserves a lot of this shit he's getting. I think 34 counts is a bit extreme, but he definitely deserved to get charged for something. If they could prove all this stuff, I'll just put it like this. If they can prove it, he deserves to go to prison for this stuff. We read that part. Let's keep pushing. Okay, so the next question is, do prosecutors need to convict Mr. Trump of a second crime? The answer is, the short one is no. They must only show that there was an intent to, quote, commit or conceal a second crime. This is where Trump's attorneys need to focus on. If these people aren't real careful, the people that are trying to prosecute him, they might slip up in a lot of this technicality stuff. Prosecutors do not have to charge Mr. Trump with any secondary crime or prove that he committed it, but the prosecutors have not yet said definitively what crime or crimes they intend to rely on or escalate the charge on the felony. Y'all better get real specific, because once again, I said Trump has good attorneys. He's real slick like that. So y'all coming over here playing soft shoe, y'all gonna lose. Trump is not a guy you need to trifle with. He's very smart. Why did prosecutors cite other hush money payments? Mr. Bragg's office linked Mr. Trump. Once again, this guy's Bragg is the district attorney in Manhattan that's, handling the Trump's case. Mr. Bragg's office linked Mr. Trump to 3 hush money deals. While the indictment mentions only the deal with Miss Daniels, the prosecutor likely mentioned the other deals to begin to work, proving that Mr. Trump intended to conceal a second crime. This is a witch hunt. Like, they coming after this dude, man. They even bringing up stuff that's not relevant. Now, if he has a great attorney, which I'm pretty sure he does, he might be able to kind of spin some of this shit, dude. Like, they might be able to say objection is not relevancy and all type of stuff. A really slick attorney will be able to pick this stuff apart. In addition to, because he's not in prison, right? Well, I think he's been held, but he has to be convicted on all this stuff. In addition to the indictment, the prosecutors filed a so-called statement of facts that reference the other payoffs. So this stuff, they can motion it, but it has to be approved. It has to be, the most important. A, the prosecutor has to present it, and B, the judge has to go for it. That's the only way it's going to be successful. But if the defense attorney is able to pick this stuff apart, they're not going to have a case with this. They're not going to be able to get Trump on all this adding shit and all that. We said that document, which is common in complex white collar cases, provides something of a roadmap for what the prosecutors could reveal at trial. And based on evidence presented on the grand jury, it details the 2 hush money deals involving the National Enquirer, which has the long-standing ties with Trump. Interesting. The first involved that tabloid paying 30,000 to a former Trump Tower doorman who claimed to know that Mr. Trump had fathered a child out of wedlock. The publication later determined that the claim was untrue. Man, these people and these doormen and fly on the wall people, man, you got to be careful with these people. But then again, don't do crazy stuff. You won't get exploited. But people, people will exploit that type of stuff. The National Enquirer also made a payment to Karen McDougal, Playboy Playmate of the Year in 1998, who wanted to sell her story of an affair with Mr. Trump during the 2016 campaign. This is some dirty stuff, man. I swear, this seems like a Ray Donovan episode with Stalker Roxy. This is hilarious. Which I'm pretty sure they the whole thing with George Ferrati and Susan Sarandon's character and all that was based off Trump and Hillary Clinton. If you pay attention to it, that's what Ray Donovan was based off that season, which was season 6, I believe. Yeah, season 6. She reached a $150,000 agreement with the tabloid, which bought the rights to her story to suppress it. A practice known as catch and kill. Interesting. Let's read that again. The National Enquirer also made a payment to Karen McDougal, Playboy's Playmate of the Year in 1998, who wanted to sell a story of an affair with Donald Trump during the 2016 campaign. They really were trying to smear this dude. She reached a $150,000 agreement with the tabloid, which bought the right of her story to suppress it, a practice known as catch and kill. The deal suggests that the payment of Ms. Daniels was not an isolated incident, but rather part of a broader strategy to influence the election. Interesting. So allegedly, it's more stories out of Trump doing this type of stuff because they know these women will. And then people need to be smart. Like a lot of these women are encouraged to do this stuff. Some of them won't because they don't want to get ostracized. And a lot of the times they want to keep collecting the money. And this was a big controversy with the R. Kelly story, which had a lot of the men defending R. Kelly because people weren't really able to people felt like the parents weren't held accountable enough in the R. Kelly case, which I totally agree. If it should be a lot of people sitting in prison right next to R. Kelly. Just because how do you not know your children that? You don't know they're doing all this shit? You're supposed to know this type of stuff. Keep pushing forward. The deal suggests that the payment to Miss Daniels was not an isolated incident, but rather part of a broader strategy to influence the election. Oh, we read that part. What is the maximum sentence if Trump is convicted? The charges against Mr. Trump are all Class E felonies. Well, that sounds really bad. Which are the low? Oh, this is low category. Which is the lowest category of a felony offense in New York and carry a maximum prison sentence of 4 years per count. That's still a lot. If he get all 34 of those charges, that's a fucking lot. Which I doubt he gets all those. Though, if he were convicted, a judge could sentence him to probation. Wow, so he might not be that bad. All right, and this is just more technical stuff. The Donald Trump indictment annotation. The indictment unveiled on Tuesday centers a hush money deal. Okay, but this is more technical shit. Is there anything else we need to know? Donald Trump's arrangement. Donald Trump has gone from president to defendant. Fox hosts this with just like more articles. The indictment of Donald Trump in New York. This is all the more technical stuff. So yeah, this is a real messy case, man. And we talked about a lot of the Vince McMahon indictment stuff in the past and how it made Vince look bad and how we felt that Stephanie McMahon was involved because her mom probably convicted because Linda's been out of the loop with WWE for quite a while. This felt like I think she knew WWE was going to be for sale because I mean with her being around Vince, he probably mentioned it and she probably played her cards right. Was like, you know what, I'm gonna hit this man where it hurts really badly right when he's about to sell his company. I'm gonna get rid of him because it's been a lot of allegations that Hillary and not Hillary. I'm constantly saying Hillary. That Linda McMahon and Vince haven't slept in the same bed in over 10 years. So they've been separated for quite a while. She's been involved with her own political endeavors that she's been doing, and good for her. I mean, if she's successful at it. I know she did some stuff with the Connecticut, was it Senate or some shit like that for a while? But Vince, man, this almost the hush money with which the issue was less that he was sleeping around with women and had a lot of women that he spent, but the money was taken from the public. Like it was taken from public money that I think Vince later used some of his money and put it into LLC. It was a messy ass story. You got to read it. I reported it a while back. But the big issue was, did Vince use other people's money, which a lot of people say, yeah, I think it was let me just bring the article up because I'm just going off my brain memory. Vince McMahon hush money, because this was some months back, but I covered it thoroughly on several hush money. Hush money. Okay. Vince McMahon was investigated by his company for allegedly agreeing to pay multiple women millions of dollars in order to keep silent about their relationships with him. There were also accusations of sexual misconduct and abuse of power that came up to light in 2022. Wall Street Journal picked up which one I want to read. Wall Street Bunny. I think it was for at one point it was 11 million, then it went up to 12. I know CNN did something. I'm trying to just get one where it won't be a whole lot of ads and shit popping up. Okay, investigation to McMahon's hush money payments reportedly turned up Trump's charity donations. Also, Trump was linked to this shit too. And this was from August 18th, 2022. Even after Vince McMahon, the former WWE chief executive, retired from the company amid an investigation. Let's open this up so y'all can see this. I like to put these type of things on the screen. This is crazy, and this is why I link these two stories together. And ironically, Vince and Trump hang out with each other. They have so much in common. Okay, we read that part. Once again, even after Vince McMahon, the former WWE chief executive, retired from the company amid an investigation into his hush money payments to women, news of additional payments is still coming out. The latest revelation involves former President Donald Trump. The Wall Street Journal reported Wednesday that $5 million of McMahon's $19.6 million in unrecorded company expenses went to Trump's charity, the Donald J. Trump Fund, in 2007, 2009, which ironically, Donald Trump was doing what? He was working with WWE and WrestleMania and episodes of Monday Night Raw. So that is not too far-fetched that happened. Of course, they got ads on this shit. Let's get rid of that. Go away. The payment were made in years when Trump, who was a reality TV star, NBC's, quote, The Apprentice at the time, made an appearance at WWE events, including 2007 WrestleMania. I just said that. And Monday Night's Raw showcase in 2009. I'm not surprised. Allegedly, John Laurinaitis was involved in a lot of this stuff as well. Man, this is just a very interesting story, man. This is some wild shit right here that is being covered. Let's see. Oh, let's say Josh Copenhagen. 1 second, y'all. I'm tagging some people in this. Pope's Corner. This is some interesting shit, people. This is, this is some what up, G? Some crazy stuff. We're gonna finish reading this. I just had to tag this because I expected Omari or somebody to be here by now, but they aren't. It's thunderstorming outside. Perfect time to be in the house and do our thing. I whoop your head, boy, with the back of the steel. I whoop your head, boy. I don't know why I'm saying. Anyway, let's finish reading this. Okay, so is this what I had up? What do I have up right now? This is what I had up. Okay, so the WWE earlier this month stated, well, last year at this point, in a regulatory filing that the company had uncovered nearly $20 million of McMahon's personal expenses that related directly to the wrestling company's business and should have been disclosed to investors. I smell a rat. Somebody had to leak this. I think it was either a combination of the McMahon children or Linda McMahon, because she knew about a lot of this stuff. It seemed like, yeah, I can send you the link. I sent it to you already, Omari, but I'll send you another one on Twitter. It seemed like Linda knew about all this shit and she let it blow up in Vince's face. I think she knew about a lot. She's like, I'm hitting why her. They knew, a lot of people in WWE knew that this sale was coming up. They knew this was going to happen. So they put all of this out right when there was a lot of discussions that WWE will be getting sold, which we didn't know by April to begin sold. The goal was probably to sell about last year, but all this controversy stuff is why it happened when Vince was forced to retire. I think Linda knew about it, and she just like her any wife that knows she's been cheated on is going to hit you where it hurts. I think that's what she did with Vince, and allegedly his kid Stephanie stepped down back in January. So this has been a shitstorm. And then we're going to, in a second, we're going to get into why people are overreacting and these people why they shouldn't be canceled. We're going to make an argument about that. We just want to get all the technical stuff out the way. Omari, I'm going to bring you up in just a second, too. The WWE earlier this month, and NXT sucked tonight, so it's not worth talking about. As far as I know, the matches that was announced, that weren't that great. So we're going to talk about this instead. We talked about that. This is public money that they tried to hide that wasn't documented. This is some illegal shit that should go. People should be going to jail for. included that the sum was $5 million that was unrelated to company's investigation of alleged misconduct. WWE said the Wall Street Journal reported that the $5 million went to Trump's charity. Y'all hear thunder in the background. It's raining really bad here in Chicago. A person who reviewed Trump's 2007 WrestleMania contract told the Journal that Mr. Trump directed Mr. McMahon to send a $4 million appearance fee to Mr. Trump's charity. Interesting. And I'm gonna bring Omari up in just a second. Omari, just code it. I'm gonna read this quick. Trump appearance at WrestleMania 2009 came during the Battle of Billionaire. We're not gonna read that. We know that WWE did not have a comment regarding the payment to Trump. McMahon found himself in the middle of a corporate firestorm in June when the Wall Street Journal reported that the company's board was investigating him for agreeing to pay a secret $3 million settlement to a former employee with whom he allegedly had an affair. The Journal did report in July that McMahon paid tens of millions of dollars to 4 women, including the one from the prior report, to cover an allegation of sexual misconduct. This led to him stepping down, yada, yada, yada. Okay, now I'm going to bring in Omari. Omari, man, what's causing all this, kid? What's up, man? I know you had a lot on your chest, man. What's going on? Welcome to the show, dude.
Nothing much. I'm just, looking at the Twitter feed. I seen Braun Breaker turn heel.
Braun Breaker? Oh, did he really?
Yeah, he turned on Melo. I guess it was a double turn, but yeah, he turned heel.
That was the best thing for him to do in the midst of all this stuff with his dad.
I agree.
He was never going to get cheered. With all that stuff going on, he wasn't. Oh, man, Fire Vince is trending. Oh, shit. I don't know if you see that, but Fire Vince is trending right now.
I was going to say, what we was talking about yesterday, they should pair him up with Cora.
Yeah, sure. Why not? Fire Vince is trending right now. This is hilarious.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that. I didn't pay that too much attention.
This is wild, man. Naomi is trending too. I would love to see why these jackasses want Vince McMahon to be fired. Why? Because he's going to make WWE more money. He's going to clean up the mess that Triple H has caused. Like, bro, get out of y'all feelings about all this sexual allegation stuff, man. Get over y'all stuff. Y'all got skeletons in the closet too. If we start back pulling y'all skeletons out of the closet, and I already mentioned all the bad stuff Vincent did. So, but he's much better for a corporation. Endeavor don't want to work with a fool like Triple H. He can't even make NXT marketable. Why would they want to work with a guy like him? That's what these people don't goddamn understand. Omari, did you want to get into political stuff? Then we could talk about all this stuff with Vince. I remember you were talking about people are crazy and all that type of stuff online. You said the race people are out. What's going on with this stuff now?
Oh, you talking about what I? Okay, I know you're talking. So, I don't know if you've seen this, but it was women's college basketball. Nobody cares about that, but. So like it was Caitlin, it was two girls, Caitlin Cart and Angel Reese, something like that. And it's been on it's the woke media and the race hustlers has been on it. So essentially they both did the whole John Cena, you can't see me stuff to each other, and that huge frenzy in the sports media. I never thought the John Cena "You Can't See Me" will cause such a backlash, but that just shows you how interesting women's basketball is. Is that John Cena is the most interesting thing about it. When you really think of it, his thing is to talk about it. When he's the most interesting, nobody cares. They just care about his hand thing.
Yeah,
and you got the black hustlers out there saying how John Cena should give Tony Ayo some appreciation, how he stole from black culture, how he stole from Tony Ayo, stuff like that.
People need to get out of here with that. Don't nobody know Tony Ayo for that stuff. Like, I would usually agree. Little Bendy Tara, hello. Do you have an opinion about the show tonight? I don't know when you came in here, but I was off screen 3 minutes ago, apparently. Yeah, what do you think? Have you been reading about this Donald Trump stuff, Omari? These 34 counts and stuff like that?
Yeah, they're trying to from winning.
It feels like a witch hunt, man. I feel like they're really trying to take that man down. What's that?
It is a witch hunt. You know, I like Trump, but I do agree with people when they say that people go too far and stand him. I do agree with that.
It feels like they just don't want him to be able to rerun again because they're trying to add on charges that didn't have nothing originally to do with the allegations. Like, they're trying to bring up every woman that he possibly could have said something wrong to, be it somebody that worked for him at one point, he had a business interaction. But we got to start asking some of these tough questions about stuff. And what I mean by that is, like, for example, with the Stormy Daniels thing, y'all have to ask yourself, why did that woman not say something for a long time? Like, it seems very similar to and it's not about being insensitive or automatically thinking a woman's wrong. It's about asking questions and make sure people get their due process, even though a controversial, at times, abrasive person like Donald Trump. We're supposed to be a country of laws and constitutions, and people completely forget about that when they get in their feelings. That's what a large problem a lot of this type of stuff is that we need to question. Because how far are we going to let this get where we get to the point where we automatically start believing women? That is a dangerous game to play, or automatically believing anybody that claims to be the victim. That's just not something we want to be getting caught up in right now.
Well, to be honest, we haven't been a country. Well, we haven't been a country in like decades. You know, the roots of what our founding fathers' vision for this country was thrown out the window. Like going back to like the 1900s. Hell, even the Civil War. We haven't. This country has been. We haven't been in the United States in like 100-something years, if not more. Right. We are. This is the we were born and live in the United States of corporations. It's not the United States of America. It hasn't been that since like the 1800s.
Right.
I keep trying, and when I tell people this, they don't want to listen. They're too focused on the United States you was born in, you grew up in doesn't exist. It never existed. You had better media. That's about it. The same government we had the same government, and everybody loves the 90s, right? We had the same government back then. The only difference is pop culture was better. But even then, I call it out. I don't care if you like the 80s. I don't care if you like the 90s. I like it too. But when you want to say that it's the peak of civilization. When they say it's the peak of Western civilization, I'm like, so okay, now you're getting a little bit carried away. It's like a big government.
What people mean by that is social stuff. Like they get to choose socially. They get to be this gender that they want to be. It's more inclusion. They're not talking about from a ownership or law standpoint. And before we go any deeper, let's introduce the man. Yeah, your boy said OSJ91. What's up, old school Jason? What's up, man? Welcome back again.
Yo, what's up, TJ? What's up, Top Dog?
What's going on? Man, you see the shitstorm that's going on between Trump and Vince online right now, between people that dislike both. It's a shitstorm on Twitter right now, man.
Yeah, man. Today's actually been pretty crazy for wrestling news and stuff like that,
Yeah. You got the hashtag Fire Vince going on online. A lot of people whining that Vince sabotage. Like, one thing I want to focus in on, I want to get both y'all opinions on this, not to cut you off, Omar. I want to get both y'all opinions on this. Me and Yim had to tweet out to these fans that Vince McMahon and the company were not spiting them, not making them wrestle. They said they gave us an extra few days off work. That's why I wasn't a lot of wrestling on Raw Monday. These people were so convinced that it was a conspiracy from Vince McMahon to undermine Triple H. Well, first of all, y'all should be happy that Triple H still has a job with the damage he's done to WWE. Vince has made it clear that Triple H is still going to be over creative. Even though he shouldn't be, he's still going to be, even under the Endeavor rule, the regime, he's still going to be over creative. So this shows you how insane these fans are, Jason. Like, these people are out of their minds, dude. And it's a hashtag Fire Vince going on right now, man.
It seems like wrestling has taken over everything. Because, like I said, we were just talking about the whole "you can't see me" stuff with John Cena causing up. I don't know if y'all seen it, but I don't know if you seen it, Jason. But it's Caitlin Clark, right? It's basketball, so nobody watches it. So I wouldn't expect y'all to see it. But the whole sports media, the race hustlers. They pretty much did the "you can't see me" to each other, and everybody got mad at them, which is funny because nobody cared about the actual game itself.
Yeah.
It's just shit. What you make of all this stuff with Vince and Fire Vince, and what do you make of all this stuff, Jason?
Honestly, I gotta keep it real though. In my opinion, I don't really think Vince is causing all this because, like, you really think Vince would go out there and have Seth Rollins do that whack ass sing-along thing that he does for 8 minutes straight?
Right.
That's Triple H's boy. He's going to have Seth out there as long as he can. And on top of that, the problem with these marks is whenever something bad goes wrong, oh, it's Vince. But when there's something that they like, oh, it's Triple H, and it makes no sense,
Right.
It's just
like
that
they have collective privilege. Yeah. It gets really and I have to blame Vince a little bit for this, even though Triple H is obviously the one that kind of been over control of it. You have
I blame Vince too, because he enabled this whole thing.
Yes, trying to be lazy, trying to trying to cut corners as far as we want the sponsors' money. This is the consequences that come when you want to be scared and not control your own product. people can say whatever they want about Damon Dash, but the reason Damon Dash can say whatever he wants is because he owns his own stuff. That's why. You can, guess what you can do if you dislike Damon Dash? Cancel his stuff. That's the best thing you can do. You know what I mean? You can't do nothing other than that because it's his. You know what I mean? So that's what people need to understand. Like, we have to get out of this I have to control everything mentality. The LGBT plus community can say whatever they want. These people want to control people. It's not about my choice or my freedom to do this and that. No, you want to control everything. That's what these people want to do. And this is how far we're getting as a culture, where it's getting ridiculously out of hand with a lot of this stuff, man. It's really bad. I mean, we can switch between. We don't have to stay on just wrestling or just Trump. We can switch between however we need to do with this. Do you think though? Do either one of y'all think those 34 counts gonna stick with Trump? Well, he got to get convicted first, but I don't think it will. I think he might get a slap on the wrist and probably some conviction or something.
He ain't gonna get convicted.
I mean, yeah, he's got the money, so I mean, I don't think he's gonna, really serve any time.
Right. No, powerful guy. His father built Manhattan. Like, they're not about to convict that dude.
Yeah, does get convicted, then the only reason why they want to convict him because the January 6th narrative failed. So they're trying to create a witch hunt so they imprison Trump. Then the Trump fans all go out and protest, and then he's like, see, that's what it is.
Yeah,
honestly, I'm not in favor of Republicans or Democrats. Now the Republicans has made that since I'm a young man, I should go to war and die. So I'm not in favor of either of them. If you want to be honest, I like Trump. I think he can do some good things for this country, but I'm not going to stand the guy.
He has done good things for this country. Financially, it's proven that the economy was better under Donald Trump versus the Obama administration.
Yeah.
Anybody with 2 brain cells knows that. Amazon made $93 million under Donald Trump. That's a fucking lot of money. And Amazon employs a lot of people in this country. So people can be selective with their thinking if they want to. Like, it's obvious that the country and it was better for minorities. That's what people don't understand. Now, of course, Trump was saying all that nutty stuff about build a wall. That was all pump faking. We should have knew that he wasn't going to fucking do that. And then build a wall, and who's going to build? You was going to have the Mexicans build? Who was going to build that wall? No, all these corporate people with suits were not, even the ones that want the rah-rah and get behind Trump, they were not about to roll their sleeves up, leave a comfortable desk, and build no goddamn wall. That's what the crazy part about it was. Y'all were trying to have the people build it that y'all trying to kick out the country. Like, that was stupid.
Built because Biden is not doing anything at the border, and that's the reason why, fentanyl, we have fentanyl, they're bringing fentanyl across the borders, and it's causing a lot of deaths. And so we need to build one, but it's not going to never get done.
To me, we should need to have more strict policy against people that don't want to come here and follow rules. But I'm not against anybody having the opportunity. If they have the money, they come over here with the right intentions. I have absolutely no problem with that. Let's get into this psycho fire vents thing. This should be funny. I seldom read tweets on my thing, but this is something to lighten the mood up and have a little bit of fun. I cannot believe how psychotic these people are. Let's read some of this shit. Okay, so this Cody Rhodes knockoff looking dipshit. Oogity woogity. Yeah, you need to be called stupidity whoopity for this bullshit. We have a voice, is what they put. Fire Vince. Why do y'all want Vince to be fired? You talking about the guy that just convinced this company to pay him $9.8 billion for his company? What do you want Triple H to do? Wrestling will be recorded in circuit tents at Impact Wrestling with shitty lighting if Triple H was in charge. I don't know if you heard about this, Jason, but Triple H said he got the sanity idea from Impact. Why would anybody inspire to be Impact Wrestling at this point? Why does anybody want to be Impact?
How is Impact even in business now? Like that's genuinely what I can't figure out. How is Impact still? They're like a cockroach.
If they weren't owned by Anthem Network, which is the TV network that owns the company and that finance, I honestly think it's a tax write-off. That's the only logical explanation at this point. I think they have no chance of getting on a major network anymore. If they weren't in that shitty Anthem, which is in Canada, which wrestling's dead in Canada, they wouldn't even still be on TV. That's why they got intergender matches. And I don't know what's wrong with Steve Macklin, like formerly known as what was he? He was in the Forgotten Sons. I forget what the hell his character was. Steve something. He was Wesley Blake's partner. This dude is a former Marine and let women beat him up in competitive matches. I can't respect. I don't think these wrestlers understand what this does to your brand. That's why LA Knight left Impact. You know, somebody that's actually a star who this full Triple H refuses to use. LA Knight left because and I like Tessa Blanchard. I honestly think she's one of the most talented women, especially a non-WWE IP. She's one of the most talented women in wrestling. They wanted LA Knight to lose a clean match to Tessa Blanchard. Now, that fool Brian Cage, for whatever reason, did it. But LA Knight has integrity. Why would he lose to a woman? And it's not about sexism. It's like, that is bad for your brand. How do I take you seriously as a world champion at that point when you let a woman wrestle you competitively? Then everybody was like, oh, Austin should have wrestled Jeff Jarrett. Why? First of all, Jeff Jarrett looks like a goofball. He comes out with a cut-up construction paper outfit. Then he lost to China. Why would Austin wrestle him?
See, this is the reason. Now you see why Hulk Hogan. Now you get why Hulk Hogan did what he did.
Yeah.
Now I don't agree, like not to the extreme, like I don't agree like with a lot of things that he did, but I see why he was about that Hulk Hogan brand, and I agree. Imagine Hulk Hogan jobbing out to Whitney, what was her name?
Whitney Richter.
Yeah, imagine Hulk Hogan jobbing out to her in 1985 when Hulkamania in the beginning. That would have killed Hulkamania right there.
Sure. It definitely now, and this is my issue with Bret Hart. Like, Jason, how do you feel about Bret Hart?
Kind of neutral on him, to be honest with you. Like growing up, of course, I was a fan of his work, and everything like that. I didn't really catch him in prime WWF, but I mean, I knew of him, but I kind of watched WWF off and on in 96, 97. Didn't really get hooked till 98 when he was in WCW, watching wrestling. So I caught him more in his WCW run. But anyway, yeah, I liked his work, and I can honestly say he's like up there for me in my top 20. But from a personal standpoint, the guy just comes off as way too bitter. Like the whole thing with Goldberg, and you're like, dude, it was an accident. It was over 20 years ago. Goldberg's apologized numerous times.
Right. Yeah, he needs to get, and that's why. And people don't understand. Top wrestlers watch stuff like that. Scott Hall was one of the nicest men ever. People try to spin angles. Yes, he had drug problems and alcohol problems at points in his life. You talking about an unselfish performer. He let Chris Jericho, Lionheart Chris Jericho in WCW, beat him on a random episode of Nitro because he knew they wouldn't get a reaction if he just beat Jericho. He was like, dude, the only thing we could do is get a reaction out of this. Find a clever way to beat me, and then I'll beat you up after the match. He did that for Chris Jericho. Then the ungrateful, disingenuous, and Jericho was a great worker and all that, but boy, all this stuff about him being a GOAT, that's a crock of shit. Nobody started calling him that until he put it on his underwear. Literally, CM Punk wasn't called the greatest in the world until he put it on that shirt. They're self-entitled people, and this is what I have an issue with. And Jericho went in his book and said, I had to teach Scott Hall how to do a small pack. Like, what are you talking about, dude? He did not have to put you over. Like, these guys forget that if you're not pinning somebody, you're not winning a match. Like, and you can put Bret Hart in, and I don't know if this is a Canadian wrestler thing that makes them marks. I don't know what this is. But they have this entitlement to them. Like, dude, y'all wouldn't have been anything because a lot of y'all were work rate people. Nobody had really any promo skill. I'm trying to think of entertaining Canadian wrestler. I cannot think of one off the top of my head. That was a great promo. I'm sure it's a Trish Stratus.
Piper. Roddy Piper.
Oh, I forgot about Piper. I always think he's Scotland because of the gimmick. Yeah, you're right. Piper and Trish are probably the most talented Canadian wrestlers that got the point. They weren't just, I'm going to put on a great technical match. So I don't really get these guys that think that they don't have to cooperate with people. Jericho, let's be honest, dude. You had to go to AEW because you want to be a big fish in a small pond. You're the LeBron James of that company, yet you don't try to get Tony Khan to sign new star. Why is Enzo Amore not working there? Why is Moose not working there? Why is Jacob Fatu, who's just going to starve in MLW with that Mark Ash? They have a middleweight division. Like, why? Why is it a middleweight division in wrestling? Like it's a real fighting. Who's calling?
Yo, this man Brock Breaker is a badass. I'm watching this segment with him and Carmelo. This man is a badass. I'm ready to see him as a heel. Hopefully he goes all in on these fans. But
speaking of which, I don't know if I got your opinion on this yesterday. Jason, what do you think of the whole? Did we get your opinion about the Rick Steiner and Giselle Shaw thing that happened at the Comic-Con?
Nah, but I'm about to touch on that right now. In my opinion, I mean, you would think with the day and age we live in with social media and all that, that somebody would have caught this on, camera. And I'm like, I really don't think anything happened. It's just, a lot of these people in the rainbow community, they like to make up stories. They like to play the victim.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if this was the case here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm looking like, I don't understand why Rick Steiner was even at anything associated with Impact. How much money could they even afford you at that Comic-Con? Like, if Impact was there, they likely couldn't afford to pay nobody. Like, yeah, it's just, I don't even understand why. And not only that, dude, you have to be very conscientious. You should have known with your son just being the world's champion, how SJW, Triple H already don't like the Steiners as it is. Like, he never really liked them because Scott Steiner used to shoot on Triple H, and Triple H deserved it a lot of the times. You have to be smart, Rick Steiner, and know, like, I can't even say this stupid stuff, even if I believe it, because my son's going to get heat and I need to have him a career. This was the most logical, and it's unfortunate because Braun was just starting to get some momentum as a well, he's had momentum, but he was rolling as a babyface. Now, granted, there's not a lot of people for him to work for, and it made sense to keep him babyface maybe another year so he can at least work with Roman Reigns. Braun Breaker right now should be working with Roman Reigns, not Cody Rhodes, even though it looked like Cody going to be working with Brock, so we don't know who's going to be working with Roman Reigns, especially considering Matt Riddle just came back tonight. If I was a bet man, I would probably say that Riddle's going to work with Roman Reigns because they only had, one match on a random SmackDown? They haven't had an extended program with each other. So it looked like that's the direction they might be going in with that. But, yeah, it's just like a lot of these celebrities and stuff like that, they have to be aware of certain things that they put their relatives or themselves in because we live in a very sensitive time. Was there anything you want to add to that, Omar?
Oh, I was just gonna say that now that we think of it, so it was about a couple hours ago. You might come across it, but so I was on my boy Mongo Slade's Twitter feed. Sometimes I see when he posted, see what's happening in wrestling, and it was on a TikTok of Eddie Guerrero's daughter. He has, I guess I knew he had a daughter. But I didn't know he had multiple.
Shaw Guerrero, yeah.
One of them, so I guess she was on TikTok. She was on some TikTok. She was on something, and she said that that her stepdad was abusing her, sexually assaulted her. You're gonna have to look that up, but she said sexually assaulted her. I was like,
now was that one of Vicky's other husbands or something? Like, who was she talking about?
She said her stepdad, so I'm guessing it has to be with Vicky.
Right, it couldn't have been our actual father.
No, it was some guy with the last name. It's the guy that Vicky married a couple years ago. I think his last name is Benson or something like that.
Oh, got you. The guy okay. I'm not surprised those things happen. You know what I mean? It's unfortunate. And for Shaw Guerrero, she left WWE for an undisclosed reason. I'm not sure if that was the reason for it because she was a big deal for her. And Dusty was there at the time. Dusty made so many talents. But when Dusty was in NXT doing his thing, just doing an excellent job, Shaw Guerrero was kind of a thing there. Then she became a ring announcer, and then she left, but it was for like a sketchy reason. Now, I know Shaw Guerrero for many years was married to Aiden English, who's over in AEW right, or Impact right now. Matthew Rodho. She was married to him for a very long time, and they might still be married, but maybe that has something to do with why she left. But that's very unfortunate. I hate to hear stuff like that for a lot of different reasons, but I always wish that Shaw Guerrero had a good run because somebody with her pedigree and legacy could have did great things in wrestling. And another person is Ricky Steamboat's son. I'm not sure why Richie Steamboat didn't work out. I heard he had a lot of injuries, but boy, he had a nice little run for like a year or two when in the original FCW / NXT. What's that?
I said, now that you put it like that, I mean, Charlotte gets handed everything that she's Ric Flair's daughter. Imagine that, but Ed Guerrero, who everybody loves. Because
her and Shaw Guerrero could have had a good program. Now that I'm thinking about Charlotte and Shaw Guerrero, they could have did something with that. Then you could have brought in Vicky and put her in her daughter's corner. Then you could have had Flair. Because Flair's a weird one, man. Flair is one of those guys that he seems he's so passionate about wrestling, but he seems grumpy about it in a way. Like he was mad with the Becky. Now, I wouldn't want Becky Lynch using the man either because I don't think that moniker fits her. She's 140 pounds and not a great wrestler. You cannot call yourself the man when you can't throw a punch. The man is designed for somebody like Sonya Deville, who's trained by America's Top Team, or somebody like Jazz. That's what you call it, not Becky Lynch. She's not called the man. Call her Becky Balboa. That sounds much better. But Flair has had this love-hate relationship with WWE, and it's really strange. And I feel like it set him back in times where he could have had great matches, because Flair is going to be good no matter where he goes. When he went to Impact and did that thing, he really elevated Impact Wrestling. And these goddamn fools, that stuff he did with Jay Lethal and all that with the imitation, these damn fools, that was one of Impact's highest rated segments at 1.6 million viewers. And they have yet to reduplicate that. Is there any saving Impact, Jason? Can you even save that company?
Honestly, no. I mean, I don't even know what goes on there, to be honest with you. I haven't really watched Impact like at all since, I want to say, maybe 2013. And even then, I didn't really watch it that much. The last episode I saw was that episode where Tito Ortiz debuted.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, that was a nice little while.
And
yeah,
not that it was bad, but it was just, kind of awkward. This is the most awkward debut ever.
Yeah.
And this was going around during the, Aces and Eights, I believe?
Probably. That sounds about right. Yeah. Maybe Lashley might have been
I watched Impact.
Yeah, that was a nice little while. Now, it was a nice little while. I stopped watching because I watched Impact consistently from either 04 or 05 to like 2010. And then when they did that whole Winter Raw Monday night, I kind of took a break from it. Then I picked back up on it when they did that final deletion stuff with the Hardys. And I was like, this sounds kind of interesting. And it was fucking great. And of course, the Hardys is going to be great regardless. I don't know. Speaking of, I don't know what's going on with Matt Hardy. He said smarky stuff. He want to get concussions. Like, dude, why are you not doing broken Matt Hardy in fucking AEW? You got the rights to it after those Impact tried to sue you. I think everybody becomes a mark automatically when they go to AEW. I'm sorry. Were you going to say something, Jason?
Yeah, I was just gonna say I actually got into TNA about the same time that you did. I think the first show that I saw was Hard Justice 2005.
Oh yeah, okay.
AJ Styles versus Jeff Jarrett for the NWA heavyweight title.
Yeah.
And then I got hooked on TNA. I'm not gonna say I watched it every week, but I want to say right around the time I got into high school, that's when I started watching weekly. Like 05, 06, 07,
right.
08. And I still remember when Impact was like an hour, TNA Impact.
Yeah.
Every Thursday on Spike, that was when I'd be watching. But
that was their best run, man. They had a good run.
Yeah, that's my TV run. So I got it way later than y'all did. I got into it about like the late 2000s, early 2010s.
Yeah, it was still watchable around that time, though.
Yeah, it was good. The main event Mafia stuff was fantastic.
It was.
Mm-hmm.
And like a lot of the marks get mad, go, oh, it was the older WWE guys putting the young. Well, they had to do something. AJ Styles was like, all those guys that y'all wanted to do well was only work rate guys. They weren't getting people to watch. To quote Mark Madden, who's he reminds me a lot of the wrestling Ben Shapiro. And I agree with a lot of things Madden say. Obviously, some of the stuff I don't agree with that he says. Mark Madden said it the best. Mark Madden said, Impact Wrestling is good, but they don't give you a reason to watch. He said the work always is good at the pay-per-views, but they don't give you a reason to watch their TV shows. And that's why Main Event Mafia had to be brought in to begin with. It was no reason to watch Impact. Well, how many times can you see AJ Styles and Christopher Daniels have a 5-star match before it gets old? Don't get me wrong, it looked good, but what are you going to do after that? You know what I mean? Or whatever guy you can put up in there. Like a lot of these people are a breath of fresh air. Hey, Marissa comes in to join us. But yeah, it was still pretty good around that time you were watching, Omari. They still had good watchable. I remember Pac-Man Jones was there. I still can't believe R-Truth and Pac-Man Jones won the tag team titles, and Pac-Man Jones literally didn't do squat that match. It was hilarious because R-Truth literally did everything. And Pac-Man Jones had a cool-ass theme song, and then he slapped the stripper and he went to jail after that. But yeah.
I remember that.
You remember that?
Was good.
It was. Who's bad? It's the Pac-Man Jones. R-Truth rapped the song. It was some good stuff. But yeah, you got to watch that at some point, Omari, when R-Truth and the football player Pac-Man Jones won the tag team titles in Impact.
I got a question from my boy Jason.
Yo, what's up?
So I was talking, me, TJ, we was talking about this, we talked about this, multiple times on the stream. So you remember back about a year ago, rewind back a year or so ago, when Tay Conte, Sammy Guevara had that whole scandal.
Yeah.
I was telling my boy TJ Prodigy that if Tony Khan was smart, he would have used that to his advantage and made that his own version of Edge and Lita, because that could have been beneficial for AEW with the heat they were getting, but he didn't do it. And I wanted to get your thoughts on that.
Well, that's the thing about Tony Khan is this guy has missed opportunity after missed opportunity. All he cares about is work rate and bringing in all these indie schmucks. He doesn't care about storylines or characters or defining characters or just overall trying to improve his product. He's just catering to the smarks, the hardcore fans that are always going to tune in. He's not going to try to expand the audience. And to me, that's the problem with AEW. That's exactly why, in my opinion, they're a failed company, you know?
I agree, because I was like, how do you not do that? That's money on the table. Like, that could have been Edge and Lita of the modern era, but honestly better, in my opinion, because you have social media.
And to touch on that, you know how all these smarks always say that WWE's, you know, catering to an audience of one, which they're referencing Vince. I feel like you can make the same argument for AEW. They're catering to an audience of one, which is essentially Tony Khan, you know, and all these smarks have that same hive mind mentality. You know, so it's essentially one when you think about it.
Tony Khan is essentially Vince, but the opposite. How Vince McMahon loves big sweaty men, well, Tony Khan loves small flippy wrestlers.
Tony Khan is a SJW smaller Vince McMahon that don't lift weights. That's all he is. Like I would go closer. You know what? Actually, Tony Khan is a mixture of Meltzer and Triple H. He only has Vince McMahon's money. That's it. He has Vince's money, but he's a Meltzer and He's Triple H with the suit and Meltzer with the 5-star crap. That's all he is. And every time you try to give him advice, he gets upset. Since when does a person who hasn't had one successful, profitable year have the arrogance that Tony Khan has and try to say, well, fans don't have to watch it if they don't like it? What type of attitude is that to have? That's like if you're a mom and pop business that sells hamburgers and the customers are giving you feedback. They want to give you service, and you saying if you don't like it, go to McDonald's. Would that be advisable business? That is stupid.
Stupid, exactly. And I wanted to say that too. That with Tony Khan, you were comparing him to Vince. The thing about the difference between Tony Khan and Vince, and this is a big one. Back then, Vince took chances. He would take risks and do anything to improve his company. Tony Khan's never going to take risks because he's comfortable catering to these smarts.
Yep. And they're crazy enough to pay $35 for a shirt that took 5 minutes to make. The Young Bucks just put a buck, what's those called? A moose or something, a baby moose on a shirt and put buck on it. And they will pay $40 for that crap. No craftsmanship, no type of quality. They just, no emblem of authenticity. They just buy that stuff. You know, don't get me wrong. I don't like the Young Bucks, but I got to give credit where it's credit. They sold those T-shirts, and I live in Chicago. Those pro wrestling tees and what's the other one? Hot Topic. That stuff is stacked to the gills with that SJW stuff. The Bullet Club shirts, they have that stuff in there. Other than at one point, it was they outsold WWE in 2017 along with the Rick and Morty stuff, which Rick and Morty was a cool series for a while. And I'm looking like two things that drive me crazy about WWE, and this is under the Triple H regime, and we got to give Vince a little bit of slack and give him a smack on the wrist because he allows it to happen. The thing I don't understand is two things that some type of way AEW finds a way to do better than WWE. They have more celebrities on a consistent basis, which is odd. I don't understand why any celebrity want to go to AEW. And the second thing is they've been making better merch sales than WWE. As far as like unmanufactured people, we already know Roman Reigns goes. That's manufactured stuff, though. So we don't know how many actual authentic new people bought Roman Reigns. Like, of course, he's gonna sell it because WWE put all the money into him.
Bloodline is it's the most bought. It's the most like sold the most heel merch of all times. Like, I don't know about that. There's a little group called the NWO.
I'm pretty sure the NWO sold the most heel merch of all time. But
exactly, yeah. I mean, me and TJ grew up in the Monday Night War, so of course, you know, we saw NWO shirts a lot, and not just NWO, but
right.
I mean, who else springs to mind that was a top heel back then?
Austin was a fake.
Rock. Well, I guess you could say face too. Heel being a heel don't matter, but
right.
Just in general, you know, Austin, Rock, DX.
Yep. I'm sure Piper sold some shirts.
Piper,
yeah.
Going into the progression era, you had Thugonomics, Cena, or
Eddie Guerrero's "I'm Your Poppy" shirt was a heel. Pretty good too.
Eddie Guerrero.
Hulk Hogan's solo run, you know, his return in 2002, the resurgence. Because when I went to my first live show in 2002, there were a bunch of Hogan shirts.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
what's crazy is that I don't. When I go to my trade school, I don't. When I see some certain people, like not even just trade school, but in general, I live in Oklahoma, and when I see people wearing wrestling shirts, I seen a kid with the little he had the little purple Cena shirt. He
Yeah.
had the Hulk Hogan shirt. I seen some NWO shirts. And then in my trade school, I seen this girl wear that Michaels and Austin shirt from WrestleMania 14 where it has.
Yeah.
I've seen that. I've never seen a Bloodline shirt. I do not see Bloodline shirts around here.
That's a really manufactured shirt. Now, Reigns is the highest paid guy in WWE, but Cena still, as far as active people, Cena still sells more merch than him to this day. See, because Cena has a locked-in fan base with the children that he built that over 10 years. So, so that Roman Reigns stuff, I was always sketchy at that. I mean, that's just all manufactured stuff.
Yeah,
now, who I think Roman sells well with are females. I'm almost certain Roman sells well with women. But everybody, I doubt it. But definitely with women.
Guy, to be honest, that's every top guy. And the thing is with Cena is that he also has adult fans too. Then with his
from the rapping days, back when he was rapping, most of his fans came from that time period.
Yeah,
rapping and stuff.
But even then, though, that's not unique because every top guy is over with the girls. Hulk Hogan was over with women.
Yep.
Michaels, especially Shawn and Brett, they were over with women.
The only two wrestlers for a fact, three that was over with everybody, every demographic: Jeff Hardy, The Rock, and Stone Cold. Those numbers have been proven. I've double checked them. They're the only three concrete people that have been over with every. And in some cases, Jeff Hardy beat Rock and Austin. Over a longer time period, Jeff Hardy beat Rock and Austin because you have to calculate the fact every company Jeff Hardy has wrestled for, he was over every single company. Rock and Austin only was in WWE with strong runs. That was it. Which still was great because they're the biggest company. However, Jeff Hardy got people to watch goddamn Ring of Honor. That showed you the talent that Jeff Hardy is. Nobody cared. Even when everybody was over there talking about these 5-star matches at CM Punk and Samoa Joe, it was 1,000 people at those shows. Probably even less people watching it because at the time, broadband internet wasn't as expansive and as reliable. People still had dial-up. So they had ROH had the genius idea to only put pay-per-views on the internet when they should have known that the internet was way too unstable back then. Where it was a lot, they had to give out refunds. So I know they didn't make a whole lot. They probably sold some DVDs. They made a lot of those money from those actual, which they probably have to inflate the prices to make up for that lost money. So yeah, they made the money with the DVDs. But Jeff Hardy was the guy that you wanted on the card at Impact. Even I don't know why he probably didn't want to, but I don't know why NJPW never tried to make a run for Jeff Hardy when he was in between WWE. That has to be one of the most foolish things ever. Why did y'all not try to get Jeff Hardy? Y'all would have probably got a TV deal in the United States if y'all had Jeff Hardy. Because all these fans that want to scream and holler about, oh, yeah, a Ring of Honor and New Japan. Nobody cares about an hour-long match unless you're autistic or Dave Meltzer. Nobody cares about that. And I'm not even trying to be funny if you're actually autistic. I mean, like, you have to be out of your mind to sit there and watch wrestling for an hour. And then they be having, like, 8 matches. How do you watch 8 35-plus minute matches? Like, I'm questioning if y'all have jobs. Don't y'all got kids or something? Don't y'all have a life? Like, how do you watch that crap?
Get laid. That's what they need to.
Like, oh, can you believe this stuff? But now, Jason, back when we were younger, man, in the 90s, New Japan was the shit, dude. When Hogan was over there, the Steiners, Benoit, Eddie Guerrero under mask, it was the shit back then, dude. Andre was over there, Stan Hansen, dudes like that. New Japan was watchable back then. Even when Kurt Angle and Brock went over there and that random resurgence to like 06, 07, when Kurt Angle had every single title, even probably had the Divas belt, and then he took them to Impact and had all 8 belts. But that was like the only time that this stuff was actually watchable. Like,
yeah,
can you
I remember catching that Angle Lesnar match back in the early days of YouTube.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really I didn't know too much about New Japan at the time, but I think one of the first matches I seen from it had to be about 08, 07. Like they uploaded some clips I seen on YouTube. I'm like, oh, so this is what they're doing now. And I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. I'm not going to say I got into New Japan, but, it's cool seeing, wrestlers that I was familiar with,
Yeah. The biggest issue with New Japan is they just have bad production. Their show looked like it was filmed in 1993. Like, I cannot believe how bad. Like, how do y'all expect to get new file and get on TV with those 420p as resolution. Like, come on, dude. Are you kidding me? It looked like they filmed their shows underwater, like at a haunted lagoon or some shit. Like, it is no way a professional company films that show. They film their show with Game Boy Advances and expect people to watch it. I'm just waiting for a squid to swim past at that damn show that they filmed. It looked like it's under like gloomy water. Like you can't see shit. Then their only sense of pyro is streamers. Like streamers is something that a broke ass public school use at a kindergarten graduation. You're not supposed to be using it at a wrestling show.
Gotcha.
I don't understand why they expect people to watch this stuff, man. And then they don't have no big stars over there. Everybody's a technician with regular tights that's black. And I'm so sick of everybody talking about Will Ospreay. What is so special about British Ricochet? I never saw the big deal with that dude. All he does is do he can't do. What can he do that Neville can't do? That the Bucks can't do? That goddamn Rey Mysterio can't do at a much more professional level? Big ups to Rey Mysterio, the greatest cruiserweight ever, who just went into the Hall of Fame, by the way.
Well deserved.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And Mexican pride has to be proud of Rey Mysterio. You talking about an upstanding individual, the amount of charity he does, and this is one of the biggest things that grind. Because I have a lot of respect for Rey Mysterio. This is one of the biggest things that grinds my gears about WWE. Because I have stuff written down for me to have a match with Rey Mysterio. I pitched it to him too, and TJ Perkins. I pitched something to TJ Perkins, who's the real TJ. This is back when he was a cruiserweight champion in WCW. TJ Perkins is one of my close friends, by the way. He's somebody I don't talk about a lot, but I'm quite close to him. Well, something that really grinds my gears about WWE is they always talk about John Cena and the amount of Make-A-Wish that he's done, which he's done a lot, but they conveniently forget the amount that Rey Mysterio has not only done for Make-A-Wish, for the Catholic Church, for St. Jude's Hospital. He's done arguably just as more, if not in certain cases, more than John Cena in 2 languages on top of that. Why does he not get credit for this stuff? Like, you talking about unfair? Like, come on, man.
Yeah.
Like, the amount of knee surgeries he's had for, like, this is the stuff that drives me crazy about these people.
Yeah, well, this is the WWE, and they prop up, that they've been known for their shady stuff. So I mean,
to show how crazy they were back in 2011, WWE went on tour to Mexico, and the first time in a while since probably Eddie Guerrero was alive. Honestly, they went to a tour, and at the time, Chavo, and actually this was in 06 when DX first reunited. Chavo and no, it's 2011. I'm sorry, two separate stories. Rey Mysterio, I think, worked with Chavo again, or it was with Del Rio. It was one or the other. And they, some type of way in Mexico City, changed the main event to John Cena and Jim Ross versus Michael Cole and Jack Swagger, even though Rey Mysterio, I think, was the champion at the time. And they were in Mexico City. And I was like, what? You have a top drawing Hispanic wrestler in Mexico, and you're going to put this bullshit Jim Ross and John Cena storyline in the main event.
Yeah, that's retarded.
That shows you that they have no clue in WWE how to market anything they're doing.
Yeah, that's retarded. Like, yeah.
That's the most absurd shit, and that's so disrespectful to Mexican culture.
I agree. It's like, who wants to see John Cena? Like, if you're in Mexico, right? Who wants to see John Cena and Jim Ross? Well, I want to see Rey Mysterio.
Right.
And not only that, but nobody's gonna pay to see Jack Swagger. Come on.
Right. He can't. The fact that he has
one of the worst world champions of all time.
Oh, absolutely. And he could have been great if they would have gave him Zeb Coulter much earlier and just did not let him talk. When you have a guy with a lisp, can't nobody take him serious.
Actually, I heard that they wanted him to work on that lisp, back then, but I guess he just never really wanted to do it. But as far as like Jack Swagger goes, I think he peaked when he was an ECW champion in 2009.
Yeah, he was pretty much. You know what? He was good in the Real Americans with Cesaro. He was pretty good in that group. And that one off match he had Rusev at SummerSlam 14. That was a great match. I watched it a couple times. I actually watched it a couple months ago. The heat in that arena when Miro beat him, like Swagger actually got a pop in the Staples Center. They were going crazy for that Real Americans. What's that? That flag match. Yeah, exactly. The flag. Yeah, and Lana was on fire. That's back when Lana and Rusev was like a pair. All right, it was great. What a great program. That was the last great, because I've always pitched that I don't like Xavier Woods. I don't like New Day, period. But I always pitch that Xavier Wood should come back as Consequence because he's the most talented New Day member because he did great with that Consequences Creed thing and Impact. But I think it'll be a great summer program, him versus a heel Rusev. And Omari, this is something that you and I always discuss, how WWE just does not focus on culture. How amazing would it be if Rusev came back with that Russian thing? As bad as Russia is perceived right now with all this Ukraine war stuff and Consequences Creed come back. Yeah. You have a whole summer worth of programs to get out of it. Why cannot? And I can see it right now. He's coming out dancing after coming back from an injury. Consequences Creed is back. You know, Kofi and them and congratulating him for doing his thing. And then he all you hear is Rusev music play. He comes to the ring. Xavier Woods is dancing. He does that spin, and he runs right into that Moshka kick. And then Rusev put him in an accolade, and the referees have to get him off him. That will be nuclear heat going into the summer pay-per-view. I don't understand why they don't do shit like this.
Bring Lana's hot ass, too.
Absolutely. Bring Lana back. And I don't know. No, I don't know. Another babyface they can have at some point with a very similar story, maybe, is Jey Uso. Because this will be a good time to bring Naomi back. You can have Naomi and Lana. And that's another thing I think WWE has grossly misused. And I want to get you guys' opinion on this. I think they've grossly misused few tag team matches. It should not only be Miz and Maurice and occasionally Edge and Beth Phoenix. It is more than enough couple tag teams at WWE right now, and it has been for like 10 years. Well, we could have got way more mixed match. How did the mixed match challenge debut in 2018? That's something WWE should have tried like in like 2013 or something. When they had a bunch of you had Tyson Kidd and Natalya, you had the Jimmy and Naomi and Jimmy, you had all these different Miz and Maurice. They have more than enough talent to justify these mixed match challenge things, and it's something that they could be doing right now. Like WWE, and this goes back to what Jason was saying. Vince used to have good ideas. I'm sorry, what was that, Omar?
Especially at the time when Total Divas was popping off,
right? Which at times did better than Raw.
Yeah,
those numbers back then are better than Raw now. You know, because people were thinking like, at least these women are going to get hot and half dressed on this show. They at least thought it was going to be a surprise or something. What is it to look forward to Raw right now, or SmackDown for that matter?
Nothing.
It is absolutely nothing to look forward to. And then now I'm gonna read what these marks, as we were talking, my Twitter notifications are going off. These marks are this thickest daddy. First of all, the fact that that's your damn name, I want you thrown out of a helicopter screaming. So I should have known you were SJW with a stupid ass name like this. Like, come on. You say, bro, Randy Orton, Randy could have came back. LA Knight could have set up a feud with Bobby, which, okay, I'm not gonna bury you as much because at least you named some people that were great. Okay, I'll give you. I don't know. Randy Orton is injured. What are you talking about? You don't even know if he's going to walk again anymore. Well, he might be cleared now, but he was hurt for a long time. I agree with you on the LA Knight thing, but I got to bury you for the name Thickest Daddy. Like, come on, dude. Come on.
Hey,
like,
I got to put. So now that we speaking of defense, I've always talked about this, and I've talked about how I was never a fan of the original ECW because I feel like it helped breed. It was a big cause in retards like this retards on Twitter like this becoming fans of wrestling. Would y'all agree with that?
Yeah, it definitely.
Yeah, by far.
Mark's got empowered. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Jason.
Oh no, I was just agreeing with Omari.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like it definitely empowered him. And even if you go back, I don't know how much both you guys listen to Rene Dupree's podcast, where he talks about how when he was supposed to come back in 2011, but he wasn't interested. They really wanted him to come back. He was going to get a singles push. And he recalled because he was backstage talking to them, and he recalled fans, WWE instructing fans to hold up CM Punk signs. So a lot of that bring back CM Punk stuff was manufactured by WWE. I know everybody thought it was organic, and no, WWE would give. So I went to NXT shows where they tried to give you signs, those goofy Johnny Gargano circle emoji looking things with the slash and the eye dot or whatever. WWE used to hand those out at the beginning of the show because you know damn well no casual was cheering for Johnny Gargano, so you know they manufactured all that shit.
It is manufactured, and you bring up a good point too because they tried to manufacture Punk's popularity, yet this guy did not draw for the ratings. Me and Omari pretty much looked that up and said that in 2011, R-Truth was outdrawing CM Punk.
Yep, he was. I remember that. And that's why WWE gave him that WWE title. R-Truth would have never gotten that title shot if he was. They had to justify, and at the time, it was Mark Henry was in the news because WWE was he said WWE called him the Silverback Gorilla, and they hushed him up by giving him that world title reign. That's why all that Hall of Pain stuff happened in 2011. It wasn't because they all of a sudden like Mark Henry. It was they were getting sexually. It was sexually. It was a lot of racial allegations against WWE, and they also was like, you know what, we might as well get R-Truth a title reign too to calm all this bad publicity down. And how could you deny when R-Truth had top merch sales? That's why he worked with Rock and Cena at Survivor Series that year. That's why him and Miz, you can say whatever you want about The Miz. The Miz is a draw compared to these wrestlers now. Why do you think they put him in the ring with Snoop Dogg? You think he would have been in that spot if he wasn't a draw? They had some of the best moments at WrestleMania that I didn't bother to watch. I saw it on YouTube. Snoop Dogg does not get enough credit for being a great celebrity entertainer. That goddamn forearm that he threw at Miz, oh my God. And Miz sold that like a champion, dude. Like, it's wrestlers that so-called got indie cred on the indies that throw crappy punches. When Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens get into them hockey fights, it looked like two people that's never been in a fight in their life throwing punches. I cannot believe how bad those punches look sometimes. Go ahead, Omari. I know you're trying to say something.
Well, another thing about that, like fans try to lie about that. They try to gaslight you. Because I remember I got into it with this guy. And he was saying how CM Punk, how he bought fans back. Because that's what they say. Oh, they bought fans back to Monday Night Raw. Oh, they bought, the Attitude Era fans back after 20 years. Like, nope, that was The Rock. Because The Rock coming back got Raw 7 million viewers. 7 million viewers. About 7 million viewers tuned in to see The Rock live for the first time in 7 years. Add on to the fact he was coming back to build the feud with Cena, and then plus have the feud with R-Truth that was outdrawing anything Punk did. That's a lie.
Right. And don't get me wrong, the Punk stuff was good for what it was, but it wasn't a draw. You cannot have CM Punk be perceived as real when you got Brock Lesnar. Triple H was still full-time. Undertaker was still there. It just wasn't going to happen, dude. We lost Jason. He might have had to dip out, but I'm sure he'll let me know if he had to leave. It just wasn't going to happen, man. Like, I'm sorry, but Punk was what he was. He was a joke in a very weak 2011, especially after WWE ruined the Nexus by having, for whatever reason, I understand that this is Omari's boy, but they had John Cena bury the Nexus, which had to be one of the most foolish things I've ever seen in my life.
He's my boy, but criticism too.
Say it again, Omar.
He's my favorite wrestler, but when he deserves it, I will give it to him. Like, that Nessa stuff, I said that he shouldn't have gone over millions of times.
That had to be the most absurd thing I ever seen in my life. Yep. And I think that, put him over. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Even though I think that even then the Nessa's part would still been buried by someone else, in WWE's booking. But I do agree that him beating the Nessa like that was retarded.
That had to be the most absurd thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
So the CM Punk thing kind of re-jolted that, him as the Nexus member and all that. And that was before Bray Wyatt became Bray Wyatt. He was Husky Harris. And a lot of those guys were very talented in that group. You had Ryback. He was the big dude. You had Michael Tarver. He had the unique look. Justin Gabriel was the athlete. Heath Slater was kind of the wild card. That was before he kind of found his footing with the personality. I got kids and all that type of stuff. He's another entertaining guy you could do a lot of stuff with, but he's buried in Impact someplace. But he's a talented dude. I'll probably have Heath Slater as like a writer or something like that. He's talented.
I think about that new Nets and stuff was Randy Orton punting all of them in the head.
Yeah.
Everything about it. Yeah, I will always tune in and see, Randy Orton's gonna punt kick one of them.
Randy Orton was always like only meant for like the ruthless aggression era. Like everything after that he wasn't meant for, because he was like, Randy Orton is like a all around player. He's just not great. Like, he's not a guy you could build a company around because he doesn't have a strong personality. But he's a great worker. Don't get me wrong. I mean, you're not gonna find too many workers better than Randy Orton. Like, he's just so smooth at everything.
I gotta disagree on that. Young Randy Orton had lots of personality. When he started doing the Viper stuff, that's when he lost a lot of his personality. But young Randy Orton, man, he
Legend Killer Randy Orton? Maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe Legend Killer Randy Orton. Maybe. But everything else after that, nah, I wasn't buying it.
It's crazy how much he changed everything up once he went to the Viper, Age of Orton and all that. Like,
they made him his head. Yeah.
You know, he changed his music. He changed his wrist tape from white to black.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I liked it when he
little subtle details.
Yeah. Yeah, very subtle detail. Just like, to me, something that isn't consistent enough as wrestling is when somebody turn heel, they don't change their outfit. That drives me crazy. And not only that, they don't change their outfits, and they don't change their moves. You still got cruiserweights flying. Anybody that know anything about psychology, and after I got on Neville about this, he changed it, because I know for a fact, me tweeting Neville about this, it's why he changed his style. I was like, dude, how are you going? And this is when he blasted. I call him Gutter Stink. Garbage shoe strip. What's his name? Rich Swann. When he blasted Rich Swann and turned healed on him, and he did that, I'm the king of the cruiserweights, that stuff. And I was like, dude, you cannot fly and do that impressive looking red arrow and be perceived as a heel. So what he started doing is, which is great psychology, he went up for the move, or act like he was going to go up for the move. Or when he actually did it, he landed on your back and put you in this aggressive looking rings of Saturn. That is the only way you can do flying moves. You're going to be a heel. You have to constantly target a body part or something. You cannot do that move and then pin somebody. You're going to get cheered by the crowd because it's very impressive looking. So when you're a heel cruiserweight, you have to implement more submissions into your offense. And that's something that people like Finn Balor don't get. He think coming out with a flipped up jacket is going to get him over. I'll never understand the logic behind why he's not always the demon. And his dumb explanation was, it takes 3 hours to put the makeup on. You do realize that WWE has makeup women, right? That get paid to do that. Who you think put the women's makeup on? You think they do that themselves?
And
the
not only
fact that you don't want to be a star is crazy. I'm sorry, go ahead, Jason.
I was just saying, and not only that, but that's not even a good excuse, because look at Goldust. You know, he took time to paint his face and everything.
And the insane clown posse. They wear makeup everywhere they go. So imagine the commitment that takes to put that on. Sting, you, and when Sting doesn't have on makeup, he wears sunglasses. But Sting is committed to his character. Balor, you're just a lazy asshole, dude. And not only that, that's like if the Undertaker was Mark Calloway every other week. You think he would draw doing that stupid crap? Like, I don't understand why these wrestlers think. And then Finn Balor will be a heel on TV and be on Twitter with the fans talking about all of us at Starbucks. Why don't anybody stay in character anymore?
Yeah. Well, one of the problem is, and I've been vocal about this, is that the cool heel has over the baby faces and heels really don't matter no more, and the cool heel has a part to play with that. Yes, kayfabe does too, but so does the cool heel, because everybody wants to be an NWO or a DS nowadays. That's the problem. No one wants to get actual heat no more. They just want to get over with the fans, and that takes away from the babyface. That doesn't help. The writing, it's already bad that the writing doesn't make the babyface good, but also it's easier to be the heel because you can do more stuff. That NWO and DS in the long run, from a heel face perspective, damaged that. It now, because now we have generations of wrestlers who grew up during the Monday Night.
I think it's still a clever way to do it. Like, I think Elias does it great, where even when the fans start to cheer him, he brings it back to the heel side. It's the art to being able to do that. And Elias, and ironically, as far as staying in character, the one person that do it gets buried on TV every week. Baron Corbin. This guy embraces being a heel online, and he gets heat for it. They fired that poor kid that lucky bastard, the first person to smash Paige back when she was still right. The big buff dude, Brad Maddox. This dude called the Indianapolis crowd pricks, and they fired the dude. I was like, since when do you get fired for being a heel? Like, WWE literally don't know how to stay out of their own way. They fired this guy for that.
Well, another problem is Stephanie McMahon, like we said, she's it really in the 2010s, like around around 2013ish, when Vince was starting to little by little, I want to step away, but like he was starting hand the keys over to more people. It's that step and the product has gotten more liberal, and they bought in all these liberals, all these marks, W writers, and they don't like heat.
Yeah,
they don't like heat. They want to be cool with everyone.
And then another thing that drives me crazy, to add on what you said, Triple H don't like anybody that comes up with ideas. Almost every promo Enzo cut was written by him. And Triple H, I'm going to bring him down a peg. What type of counterproductive attitude is that from an executive to have? Yusuf one. That's like if the NBA or UFC is a better, more applicable example of this. That's like if UFC told John Jones or Conor McGregor or Kobe Covington not to draw tickets by pissing people off. Would that be advisable business to do that? I don't understand how these people think.
Because Triple H, he's this is when he was a wrestler. He's afraid of people outshining him. Look at the guys he tried to bury back in the day. We already know. He tried to bury guys like The Rock.
Yeah, Cena, Renee Curry. He had Val Venus and what's the guy with the scooter? Simon Dean and Stevie Richards all had to cut their hair because of Triple H.
He buried Booker T. Booker T. Yeah. He should have won WrestleMania 19.
Yeah, I agree. Go ahead.
And then now when he's always been like this. Triple H hasn't honestly never really had a creative idea in his body. He's just like, I agree with people, like he took the game gimmick from Shane Douglas. Now obviously he did it. He did it a billion times better. No, Shane Douglas had the hotter girl. I mean, let's be real.
Francine. Francine. Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, if anybody,
and think real quick, not to cut you off. Think about this: Stephanie with the leather short, and she was dressed like Francine. Now that I'm thinking about it. Remember that outfit Stephanie wore? She was dressed just like Francine. They didn't even try to hide it. She was literally dressed like Francine. But go ahead, Omar. Yeah.
Speaking of, I'm surprised that her or Bill can't say her name right now, but
Bill McGillicuddy.
Yeah, I'm surprised they never came to WWE.
Because I honestly think they knew they was gonna get buried. They had that one match with Edge and Lita, and that was it. Back in One Night Stand 06.
You're right.
And I honestly think Tommy Dreamer, which was ironic because Tommy Dreamer worked in WWE's office for quite a while. He worked for ECW Publishing. He was, I think, a writer for ECW and maybe a little bit of SmackDown. He was around for a while. Tommy Dreamer's kind of a smart guy, but I honestly think they knew that they weren't going to do their characters. Why do you think New Jack never wrestled for WWE? They tried to get him, but he was like, no, I'm not doing that. That's going to compromise my character. I could go to Japan and Puerto Rico and make money with my exact same intellectual property, creative freedom. I'm not going to WWE.
Yeah, true, but New Jack is also, but you also got to realize the stuff that you get when you get New Jack. I mean, you might try to get him killing people in the ring.
That is true. But I honestly think for the right money, I think New Jack would have cut that stuff down. I think they would have treated him right. And because he knew Vince wasn't, they told him not to speak to Vince. That is the worst thing you could tell to New Jack, not to be free. And he walked up and he was respectful. Hey, I'm New Jack. I give you what you like. Because he had a tryout match against Val Venus and back in 04. And this is what MVP was getting out because MVP was there. He was sitting with MVP at the bar. But He woke up. He's like, why can't I talk to Vince? Like, I'm a grown man. I'm going to be respectful. And then they said Vince went back and told him to give him a check and send him home. Because Vince, that's the type of ego the McMahons have. They want you to come to you and all this crap. Like, dude, let people do what they're do. Stop changing people's characters. They got famous for a reason. That's why, honestly, Nakamura wasn't going to be like breaking the crust for WWE or nothing, but they ruined him when they stopped letting him be Nakamura. He was done after that. Then they had him work with Dolph Ziggler. You talking about a career killer. What was he going working with Dolph Ziggler? That was a one-off match. When he worked with Cena, they was having some pretty good matches on SmackDown. They should have let Nakamura do exactly what he got famous in Japan doing. He did the violin, he came out of dance, but when that bell rang, he kicked the shit out of people. That's what he should have been doing. Stop trying to change these people. Surprisingly, AJ Styles stayed relatively unchanged with WWE. I was surprised Samoa Joe got completely ruined. You talking about a guy from 16 to 2018 was cutting better promos than almost everybody in WWE, and they messed him up. I don't understand how these people think. I really don't get it.
And then Triple H probably has something to do with that. Like we saying, he doesn't have a creative bone in his body. He literally just copies people. I mean, he copied Evolution off the Four Horsemen. What else did he copy? I mean, there's a long.
It's too numerous to count the amount of stuff that he's copied. Now, Jace, did you want to comment on any of that? How WWE just don't know how to make stars no more? It just the lack of ideas.
I've got some thoughts on that because I would say it's a big part of the reason why I moved away from wrestling 5 years ago is just because there's really no one worth investing in. Like, it's either a combination of they don't know how to write characters, or these wrestlers that they got now, they don't want to play characters, that they don't know how to bring those characters out.
Right.
They lack the acting ability. They lack the poise on the mic.
Yeah.
Basically, when you're trying to create a successful character, it's got to be a collaborative effort from the office and the wrestler themselves.
Yeah, that's
And
true.
it's always somebody that's fumbling.
Yeah. And then the fact that wrestlers are online agreeing with fans that psychology shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter how many times I hit my finishing move. These are a bunch of clueless people. Can you imagine being on like a show, let's say like American Idol or something like that, or the Nick Cannon Wild 'N Out show when they do the battle raps with against each other? Can you imagine if somebody did a rap that sounds just like the previous person? The crowd are going to boo the shit out of you. I liken that to when wrestlers do the same moves that the previous match did. How am I supposed to distinguish your match from the previous match? And they try to make it seem like it don't matter. Like, it does matter. And then not only, the worst thing they do is the one that drive me crazy, and Jim Ross. And Jim Ross is on Rampage right now. He might be on AEW Dark at this point.
That's sad.
He's in the doghouse. Exactly. It is sad. He's in the doghouse for getting on wrestlers, for standing outside the ring looking like idiots waiting for people to dive on him. Now, when Jim Ross is telling you this, Jim Ross is a pretty diplomatic person. He could bury people a lot more than and at times I think he should, because he has authority and like he has an opinion. He's been around forever. Jim Ross, he should be able to give advice to people. You look dumb when you sit outside the ring and wait for somebody to dive. And I hate when it's like a guy that's 130 pounds with bricks in his pocket diving on like 8 dudes and he only hit 2 of them and everybody falls. That drives me crazy.
Yeah,
and
those are two of the spots that I hate.
Go ahead, Jason. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying those are two of the spots I hate. It's that one, and these spots I like psychology. It's those whack ass suicide dives, like you said, where they wait 10 seconds before they get hit. And a good example too, like the worst one that I ever seen was at the Elimination Chamber in, what was it, 2020, I believe. It was that multi-tag chamber match, and you had one of the Lucha Dragons guys. He was on top of the chamber pod. You have all these guys below him, and they're waiting. I kid you not, they're waiting over 10 seconds to get hit. And they're all looking up for 10 seconds. And he comes down, and he knocks them all down. And I'm just like, where's the psychology? Yeah. Why are you waiting to get hit?
Now, Jason and Omari, do y'all remember, and this is a sound bite with me and my other two hosts on my show, JoJo and Jason, the other Jason. We have a joke where do y'all remember that spot when Top Dollar jumped out that ring?
Yeah, I remember.
The fact that somebody cleared that, they all need to be fired. Whoever allowed that guy to do that and not let him first of all, he could have hurt himself or somebody else. He was going to hurt himself. It only takes a second, and I've been in a ring before. That apron is hard as hell. And you won't believe it until you actually touch. Those ropes are hard as hell. They're basically wire with water hose and tape. That's all it is. So it'll be people with hematomas. If you hit the ropes, it's a science to hitting the ropes. You have to drape your arm over and have a good grip. It's a way to do it. But people that hit it wrong usually hurt themselves. And that apron, I cannot kid you how hard that damn apron is. And Top Dollar is a former lineman in football. That dude's like 300 pounds. He's like 6'6". He had no business doing that move unless they knew he can clear that rope, which clearly they didn't even go over there. And he had on baggy clothes. If your clothes get caught in those ropes, then you are done. So all involved, that was so reckless for them to let that guy do that move. And now it's funny, of course. Thank God he's okay. But that was foolish. And that shows you that, and nobody's backstage telling these people no. And I bet Triple H was, yeah, you know what? We're going to let him show artistic expression, let him do it. Vince wouldn't have never let that happen because Vince has been sued so many times. And then we already know Triple H is unprofessional. Remember he dropped that dude on his head with that pedigree and he broke his neck when he picked him up. The lack of professionalism. You should know when you're doing your finishing move, when somebody is out of place. You readjust him or go for he could have turned it into a suplex or something like that. You're gonna do the move even though you knew the dude was out of place. Vince had to pay that dude like $26 million. That it had to be one of the dumbest things ever. So this shows you, and we already know Triple H has no regard for his talent. It is injuries from like I want to say like 2017 when I really started watching NXT heavy when they got Velveteen Dream and all them. So I want to say about 2020. It was somebody injured on NXT. No exaggeration. Every single week. Every week it was an injury on NXT. And that shows you that it's a lack of care with these people. What's that, Omar?
Now, so when do y'all think this whole indie era started? Now I have my
2014.
I
go, yeah, I was gonna say that too.
I'll go a year further and say 2013.
It was sprinkles around the 20, but it got bad when Punk got the belt. That's when it was bad. What I should say,
yeah,
because
I was gonna say
his run. He was deep in his run at that point. It got bad because that's when Danielson came up. Kevin Owens was right behind it. Sami Zayn was behind him. It got bad. Then the Four Horsewomen all came in 2015, except for like one of them.
Because we all know Cena when he left to Hollywood. Randy Orton in my opinion, has never recovered. Like that was his last. Like when was the last time Randy Orton has ever been serious? Like you can take him as a credible main eventer. It's been like about 10 years.
Yeah, pretty much around that time that you just said. Because he worked with like Sheamus after that. Sheamus and goddamn Gunther and all of them. He was done after that.
Yeah, and then Randy Orton pretty much, I would say pretty much he fell from the main event. I mean, Batista left. Triple H he was already basically retired. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Smarts, the Marks the Marks completely took over and hijacked the shows.
Yeah, they've always been there, but they were like enhancement guys and stuff like that. Like, because if you go back on old message boards from like the late 90s, early 2000s, they were there. It just Twitter has made it louder because Twitter's everywhere. But the Marks have always been anybody at internet that was a Mark. They were on message board. They were on forums because they were saying Taka Michinoku should have been the world's champion. Dean Malenko they were there. Trust me. If you go back and look at them old search up some of them old forums, they're there. But it got bad when Twitter became big. That's when it got down.
Agree. Now that y'all think of it, I was just watching Wrestling Gifts video. He was reacting to the internet forums of the late 90s, and then there was people already shitting on Stone Cold before he even won the title. And I was like, it's like this is 1998. Stone Cold Steve Austin is legit one of the biggest things in pop culture, and people's hating on him. I was like, what a world.
Yeah. I don't understand it. Wrestling needs a large overhaul from top to bottom. Is that fair to say, Jason?
Yeah, I'd agree. And I think it's needed it for a long time. And that's why I was kind of thinking, okay, maybe something will change with this Endeavor deal. I don't know if it is or not. I can't really say it's too soon. But I just feel like something needs to change because their back's already against the wall. We're seeing record low ratings. I'm seeing like fan dissatisfaction all across the board, from both sides. So it's kind of something's got to change. And I think that's kind of why Vince came back. He's seen that, Triple H was kind of sinking.
Yeah. I agree. And a lot of small things about wrestling. Like we could talk, and we've talked until we're nauseated in the face about creative. But it's a lot of things outside of creative that can definitely use some updating. For example,
sorry to interrupt. I'm just gonna say they need to go WCW 2000 style. That's what they need to do, but on steroids.
I mean, at this point, it couldn't hurt. What you mean, like the random booking and stuff, like with the Crash TV and the just keep stuff off poles. I don't want to see Viagra on poles, tacos on poles, women on poles, cups on poles. They can keep it.
I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about like when Raw was absolutely destroying them. I think it was in 2000, and they rebooted the company top from bottom. Like they rebooted like the champions. They rebooted the creative. They need to do that.
I think it will be a lot of layoffs with WWE coming soon, and they might well get ready for the whining. It's going to come in, but what they fail to realize, it has never been. It is an endless amount of other companies they can work for. Trust me. MLW and Dragon Gate will sign you. They sign anybody. You'll get signed. GCW and I heard what's the XPW still around. I thought that didn't even exist anymore. Apparently, it's still around. Some wrestling fan will hire you. Trust me. Like, and they want to be marks anyway. They don't want to sell merch. WWE is a merchandising marketing company. That's what it has always should have been. You should go to WWE when you're ready to be in the big leagues. WWE should not be the place where you kind of figure, like, it is so many women. If we were to knock down a women's roster, they wouldn't even have a belt. Women would have to be valets and all. If we knocked women's wrestling down to WWE's women's roster, down to people that actually know how to wrestle, it wouldn't be enough people to justify having belts. And now, don't get me wrong, I don't mind them having belts, but they shouldn't have two sets of belts. Have one women's belt and one tag team belt. That is it. Get rid of that one of them other belts. Either have Bianca and Rhea Ripley should have a unification match. And I would put both belts on Bianca, honestly, because she has more mainstream appeal because she has a cooler character. Because I don't know what they're doing with Judgment. And Ripley's talented, but this Judgment Day stuff is not working. You got Dominic Mysterio as a cholo and a punk rock band. I don't even think the WWE know what the fuck they're doing no more. Like, he's a Mexican character, which he needs to be with Vicky Guerrero and Andrade. Well, Andrade is very unhappy in AEW, so this would be a good time to get him. Like, the group doesn't make any sense. They call it Judgment Day, but they like a punk rock group with a random guy that's a cholo. It's a dumb group. So I will put both of those belts on Bianca and go from there because it's not enough good women. Because the WWE's weakest divisions are their women's divisions. Because I don't want to see these women badly botching throwing. I heard that multi-women match at WrestleMania was awful. That's what JoJo told me. And if JoJo said it, it was bad. Because
for the second year in a row, actually.
Say that again.
I said for the second year in a row, actually.
Oh yeah, it was bad, man. It was like I didn't even see the point of wasting JoJo's time and getting on here and talking about AEW because it was awful. I'm sorry, not AEW, NXT tonight. Bad. It was awful. We're gonna have a heel Braun Breaker going against, it makes more sense for him to be a heel against a cruiserweight, but against Carmelo Hayes. At this point, just put Breaker on the main roster. But as far as getting back to what WWE is deficient at, like, we got to get rid of a lot of these people. NXT UK needs to be cut. Nobody's watching a show that comes on at 3:00 in the afternoon on a weekday. Adults are at work. Why did y'all ever think that was a good idea?
And kids are at school.
Exactly. Like, who's going to watch that?
And
then not only that, you got a bunch of wrestlers with black tights. They all work the same. Who's going to watch that?
I think they need to get rid of the SJW. In my opinion, their first priority is getting rid of the SJW writers. They need to go. That's the first thing that needs to go. They need to clean.
I think a lot of them will be cut.
They need to bring back actual people. I'm not saying you need to bring back a Vince Russo or you need to bring back an Ed Ferrara, but
even though that wouldn't hurt. But yeah,
that wouldn't hurt. But those guys are older now. They're not in tuned in what the coach, rightfully so. Right. But they need to bring in someone who is gonna bring in somebody like us who wants to make the show
good
like it was back in the day. That's what they need.
If you bring me in, me and Triple H better be in two different rooms if y'all don't want it to be a fight. I will say that. If I come up in there, I don't want to be with Triple H because it's going to be a problem. But I agree. Even if it's not people like me, which obviously I can help a lot. Y'all can help a lot. Bring in people like those dudes from South Park. South Park has been a successful show for over 20 years. Any show that's that successful obviously have good writers. Those dudes know how to write. Now, their last 2 seasons have been that great, but a lot of that is the pandemic, and they're having contract disputes with HBO Warner. That's why the last 2 seasons. But prior to that, how many shows that are quality over 10 years, let alone 20 years? That does not happen. So clearly those guys know how to write a show. Get guys like Dave Chappelle. Vince McMahon was at a Dave Chappelle show when he was on hiatus. Like, who would have thought that Vince would have went to see Dave Chappelle? But he went to a Dave Chappelle show. They need to get writers from shows like Wild 'N Out. These guys that actually know how to write good content. Guys from like shows like Jackass and what's another good kind of like a good HBO dramas and stuff like that to write these serious scripts. With like Bray Wyatt needed a writer from the show like what's his name, Jason Blum or somebody like that.
Get those writers from high. That's what they. Well, I was also going to say this though too is that even if Triple H is out of the picture, the ideas that I have will most likely clash with Vince because Vince is let's be honest here. Vince he's want to go for this goofy product that this goofy 1980s product that just doesn't work no more. While I would be trying to push something, edgier, that's more hip, and he wouldn't.
Yeah.
So my vision would clash with his vision. Then you got Triple H. I would clash with his Mark vision. Then you got Stephanie. I would clash. She wouldn't honestly. She wouldn't like me. I don't even think I would get a job there. If she's still there somewhere, I'm not getting it.
Right.
Especially if she look up my Twitter. Yeah, I'm not getting a job there. So
You would get
when do you think they're gonna
just for
do
being
these?
on my show. Say that again, Jason.
I was gonna say, when do y'all think they're gonna do these big layoffs? Because every year it seems to be the Friday after WrestleMania. So do you think we're gonna get in a few days?
Yeah, in the next few days. I would say by Backlash, quite a few people. I would say about 10 people gonna be going by Backlash.
Yeah, because we're already seeing the rumblings online of people wanting to leave, like Bailey today. Like it's just been everywhere. Matter of fact, I seen it on Sunday because Carmella was kind of throwing out, a little cryptic tweet there too, and then just everybody started speculating.
Good friends in real life too. Carmella and Bailey are good friends in real life. Backlash is, I say March 8th. Oh, that's wrong. Hold on. Backlash is May 6th. It's coming up. It's May 6th. Yeah, a lot of you know what? Don't let the door hit you on the ass. Bailey, you know what Bailey's going to end up going to New Japan with Sasha Banks. That's what she's going to go.
Yeah, actually, that reminds me. Yeah, she posted Mercedes Moné. She posted a picture of Bailey, on her Instagram or whatever. Yeah. So that furthered the speculation that she's out the door or she's about to be out the door. So, I mean, in my opinion, I'd say it's for the best because honestly, they brought the chick back during SummerSlam of last year, and that group was dead on arrival. They never got over. And I don't even watch the product, and I already know this, because you could see a clip for a minute and you could just tell.
Wow. Fatal, who's a great follower of the show, says Asuka's on Twitter talking about going back to Japan. Now that's a bit of a surprise. Asuka has had a great run in WWE. I am quite surprised by that. That is a surprise. Wow. If they lose Asuka, don't get me wrong, WWE's not going to falter losing Asuka. She's had a hell of a run she's been in WWE like 6 years or so. I don't think they're gonna, lose much by losing Asuka. I'll miss Asuka because she's talented. But hey, if y'all not happy, it might be time to go somewhere else. I can live without Bailey. I can live without Damage Control. Those are Triple H. I think the heat is starting to get to some of these performers, which is why Bray Wyatt got knocked off TV. He knew that crap wasn't working. He knew it wasn't working. Go ahead, Omar.
This is a blessing right here. There's reports a lot since Vince McMahon is back. He's back in charge. A lot of wrestlers is dissatisfied. I'm like, hey, this is good. It's a blessing. A lot of these we can finally get a lot of these SAW marks out of the company that we've been needing to get out this company for like 10 years. It's been needed, and it might finally
real quick, Omari, not to cut you off. For the people that's wondering about the Donald Trump and Vince, we talked about that earlier in the show. So you got to watch the replay and you'll get some stuff about that. But yeah, I agree with you.
If they go like the Garganos go, honestly, in my opinion, even if they're not ready, just cut like half that roster and bring the stars up.
Anybody from NXT Black and Gold needs to be cut. Every single one of them.
Black and Gold.
And not only that, but the roster's over bloated too, and it's been for a long time.
And they cut it significantly in the last 2 years, and it's still over bloated. It's too many people and not enough people getting main event spots. Like you would think it's a small number based off the amount of people they push. Roman Reigns hasn't had nearly enough opponents over the last 3 years. He's only worked with Kevin Owens, Brock Lesnar, Riddle, and like Randy Orton. That's it in 3 years. You would think he would have worked with LA Knight by now, Karrion Kross,
Bobby Lashley.
How in the world has he never wrestled Bobby Lashley? What planet does that even make sense on?
Especially when Bobby Lashley had the Hurt business. You could have did the
exactly
Hurt business versus the Bloodline.
Omari, I'm sorry, Jason, riddle me this because me and Omari and my other people have talked about this. How in the world does WWE have a pay-per-view called Survivor Series and they do not have any legitimate factions going against each other?
And that's been the problem for the longest time. And here's the thing about it too. The factions that they do get, they're guys who are or women in this case, with Damage Control. They have no chemistry, Exactly. The only real one you got is the Bloodline. But any random team thrown together, they're just, essentially that, randomly thrown together. They got no chemistry like Damage Control all these women's tag teams, a few of these stables that I'm seeing in NXT, like a lot of them are just like really random, you know.
Yeah,
They should
and like
DG and JC. They should have kept Toss. Yes, I know Mandy's gone, but you could have still kept
they
them.
could have just been a tag team.
That's the only one that worked in my opinion was
Yeah.
Toxic Attraction. But
And that's
outside
because
of
all
that,
those girls they actually know each other. They've gotten to know each other in the WWE system. You could tell they have chemistry with each other. They know each other. It's
Yeah.
obvious. They correlate outfits. They talk outside of the bit. You can tell. That's why it worked. If you're gonna put random people together, at least know that they're kind of friends in real life. Like Miz and Cody are friends in real life. Dolph Ziggler is friends with both of those guys. I said, like
No,
Bailey and Carmella, they're actually friends in real life.
Rock and Foley were friends in real life. That's
Right.
why the Rock and Stock connection works so well, because
JBL and Farouk, a interracial tag team, worked because they were friends in real life. That's why it worked. You know,
Eddie Guerrero in China, with the Mamacita stuff.
Right.
They had chemistry with each other.
And it helped that China actually spoke Spanish in real life too.
Yeah.
So these are things they need to work on. Now, let's talk about how awful commentary has been. Jason, since Jim Ross has been gone, commentary has been awful. Now, some people got to say Cole's doing a good job. He multitasks well. I just want to throw something when he talks. And it's not that because he's even the worst, because I think it's been a lot of other people. This Kevin Patrick dude. Then they had that dude from India. Then they foolishly fired somebody with actual legitimate broadcasting skill in the middle of a match where they needed him the most with Jimmy Smith at the damn Extreme Rules with DC at it. They fired him in a MMA style match. I cannot even begin to explain how that makes absolutely no goddamn sense.
Wait, they actually fired somebody in the middle of the show?
Jimmy Smith was a former UFC MMA commentator. And remember when Rollins and Riddle had that fight? They fired him like the day before that.
Oh, that's messed up. I didn't even know he worked for WWE.
He was on Raw. He was the Raw commentator.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. He was the last Raw commentator. He left like last summer. When Vince left, he was gone very shortly, or maybe a little bit before that. He left like a year ago.
Oh, okay. I mean, that's messed up.
And Pat McAfee I love his enthusiasm, but he needs a filter. That dude just does anything. Like, he's on the table dancing. He's just like, I like him, but he needs to chill sometimes. But
yeah, I think McAfee's kind of a little overrated because, like, I don't think he's bad, but just like, I see people like always excited when he's back, or I'm like, I mean, he's okay, but like, he doesn't really. I don't know.
He's better as a manager. Like, he'll be much better as somebody's manager, not a commentator.
He's a hype man. Like, he's
right.
I was gonna say this though. If I was in charge of WWE, I would try to get on my boy DC Young Fly. Imagine DC Young Fly
on commentary. It's a lot of outside entertainer people that'll be good commentators. It's a bunch of them. They got Snoop Dogg will probably be a decent commentator because he's kind of got that gift of gab humor. Like, now somebody's gonna make a hell of a commentator. They remind me kind of a Bobby the Brain Heenan. The Miz. When Miz is done wrestling, he's probably going to be a commentator. He's so damn good at talking. And you can tell he learned a lot from Bobby the Brain Heenan. Miz is going to be forever employed by WWE because he's such a professional and he's good at everything. He can come out the ring and wrestle. Another person who drives me crazy that they never got back is Jonathan Coachman. Look how good he was with everything he did. He was a sport with
Coach was underrated, man.
Oh man, Coach was.
I miss Coach.
Can we get this bald, boring asshole Pierce off TV already? This motherfucker.
I've seen that guy a few times, and man, he's boring. Like, easily one of the most boring authority figures in the history of professional wrestling.
I've seen sheets of paper with more personality than him. That is a boring.
Why do they have this guy? I mean, I watched wrestling since '98, but I never heard of this guy until like 2020.
Apparently, he was some dude in Ring of Honor or some shit like that. And I know how Triple H, he paid his dues. Triple H got to be that guy. And that's the only reason he's there. And Regal was William Regal, dude. Oh my God, the amount of embarrassment you've subjected yourself to. William Regal has declined in such quality since he was entertaining. He was an entertaining guy that you can get to do anything. Now William Regal is that Triple H's yes man now. I don't know what happened to William Regal, but the commentary team is a big negative with wrestling. It is god awful.
The coach. I just did an underrated tweet on the coach. It's been like
and he's liked it when I've put it out there. He's liked it when I put it out there.
Yeah.
But he knew they didn't use him right. He knew that they did. That's why he was like, you know what? I'm done with WWE. After 08, he was done. After he came back real briefly in like 19 or something. But that was like a cup of tea. Another guy that it needs to be on commentary on the main roster is Booker T, because at least Booker T can make the boring crap we're watching entertaining. You know, like I just love, and sometimes I watch compilation videos of Booker T's funniest moments on commentary. This dude, first of all, he's always baked. I don't know if any of y'all smoke marijuana. I'm a cigar smoker. I don't smoke marijuana. But dude, Booker T he has to be baked to sit through the shit now. Like every time you see him at a panel or something, that man eyes are fucking red. Like they like well done steak red, like all the time. I'm like, yeah, that dude was baking before he got on commentary. But
my question is
what'd you say, Omar?
my question is, why don't they just bring JBL back to commentary?
Well, you know why. They're going to say he's bullying people and all that type of stuff. I'm a free man, Booker. You eat somewhere.
There's going to be a slob.
Man, I miss JBL on commentary. We got to fight on Friday night, Michael.
Was great. We got a flying Uso, Michael. Yeah, I remember that.
Busters stole the Maggle stuff. A lot of like the Smart Busters, Disrupted them, stole that from him.
Oh yeah, they definitely did. Destroyer and all of them.
I know you hate I know you don't like the Smart Busters, TJ. I'm neutral on them, to be honest with you. They can be cool, but they can also be annoying. They go too far sometimes.
They're those that's there. The when me and Omari, I'm sorry, Jason, we're talking about the other day. There are those Christians they're way too extreme. That's what's wrong. I've heard them dudes say off-color stuff about Mexicans and black people way too many times. Don't get me wrong. Their content's relatively entertaining when they're talking about wrestling and all. They will fit perfectly in our community. They're just ignorant assholes. Like, I don't understand their issues with black people and Mexicans. Dude, you wouldn't have a country if it wasn't for black people or Mexicans. So this is the problem that I got with these dudes.
And the funny thing is they're Mexicans.
They're Italians. They're like Italian dudes. They're from, and they were in Chicago. I think they live up in like Michigan someplace.
And they're not even true Christians, because true Christians wouldn't say anything that they're saying.
Right.
So it's like I feel like they're misrepresenting. I'm not saying I'm perfect, but at least I try to.
Right. At least
I try to be a humble guy,
Exactly. They're just assholes, dude. They have this idea that black people and Mexicans shouldn't do anything. Like, and then they're always talking about crime. If you did a little bit of research, you would know the first criminals in this country were Italians. So clearly you're not thinking. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So that's the thing with those guys. But don't get me wrong, I don't take away. They got an audience. I don't take away from nothing they did. It's just they're racist assholes. They're just ignorant racist assholes.
To be honest with you, I'll be honest with you, I think OTR Central is worse. I don't
know him. I've heard the name a couple times. I don't know that dude. Yeah.
I don't get the hype with that guy, to be honest with you.
I know Society Review is a little bit. You said he's boring?
Yeah, and his takes are pretty bad too. This guy was going around saying WrestleMania 17 was overrated.
Yeah, he's definitely on drugs. Like, he needs to detox some drugs.
Yeah.
Like, he's one of those people that probably thought WrestleMania, what was a work rate ass WrestleMania? Probably anything in the last 10 years. He probably thought that shit was better than. I'm pretty sure he probably also thought that Kevin Owens should have main evented against Goldberg and beat him at that year Brock won.
He's like us, but he's like just really annoying.
It's a lot of those guys. You got Solomonster, all these. I call them the ass kisser crew.
Bruce Blake,
and all those dudes. Like, come on, man. They're not
about Lex Man too.
People forgot about.
Absolutely, Jason. What's that?
I hate Bruce Bliss. I fucking hate him.
I don't know him either. I hear TWRP talk about, but I don't know who that dude is.
Essentially, he was JD before JD.
Oh man, that description alone already make me dislike him.
No, Jason,
I saw JD at a show in New Chicago once, and he's so little. That dude's like 5'1". That'll be child abuse if I even put a pinky on him. He's so fucking little. And he's like 5'1".
Yeah, actually, I seen Delex Man or Just Alex, whatever he calls himself now. He was sending out some TikTok video today talking about how we got to get all these WWE wrestlers to band together and just basically refuse to work for Vince. Yeah, boycott.
Why would they want to make less money? They have good money under Vince. Like, the ingratitude of these wrestlers. Johnny Gargano does not deserve to make $500,000. He doesn't deserve to make $50,000. let alone $500,000. I would give that man $25,000 and give him an incentive to improve. If he improve, I add 25 every year. He does not deserve. Can you imagine? WWE could put $500,000 into making a pay-per-view sets unique again, so we won't have big ass screens for pay-per-views. Half the arenas on WWE 2K23 fucking sucks because no creativity went into them.
Yeah,
I'm actually glad that you touched on that because that's one of my other problems with the WWE is the atmosphere. Like, you look at the arenas, it's just one giant LED screen, and this has been a problem with WWE for the last 15 years. Is they've all shared the same set, or I mean, in 08, 09, it was okay because at least you still had unique pay-per-view sets.
Right.
But once you got to 2014, that's when you really started to see them use the same set for pay-per-views, Raw, SmackDown, and all
And
that.
their
It's just
justification of this
boring.
shit was hilarious, bro. They were we're trying to save money. How about you cut these worthless talents and save money that way?
You'll save way more cutting those talents.
And I don't want to see anybody unemployed. This is not fire people. I know people have families, but it's a million other wrestling because they just don't need to be in WWE is my point. I don't want them to not have a job. It's just they don't need to be in WWE.
Tony giving them the check anyways.
Exactly. Like I'm willing. I'm considering coming out of retirement and getting in shape and going to AEW just to say I went. Just so I can get some money and I can start if I start a wrestling company, me and a lot of you guys and other people from my JoJo and my other Jason, I love for you and Jason and my Jason talk. Y'all will be very creative. I can already tell. Y'all have a lot in common. Y'all have to meet at some point, OSJ. But we can start. I would rather start like a Raw Underground type thing. Not Raw Underground, even though that's fine too. Like how Lucha Underground was. I would make a wrestling like that where I hire people and they can have multiple skills. They can play different characters until I get enough money to hire actual people. But other than that, I will have to play a lot of people. My other friend Jason will have to play other people. I'm going to show WWE how to make a show. I'm going to be like Dame Dash while I start a little bit of everything.
One thing I forgot about WWE is that they're taking things from WCW like Bash at the Beach and stuff like that. It's like the one thing I always never. It's like even you would have think they would have did this during the Attitude Era, but it never. You know how y'all remember back on Nitro back in the day. They used
unique like when they had the pool parties and all that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Spring Break.
Yeah, Spring Break. Why don't they do that? Especially around March when college kids are on spring break. They should have did it. They should have did it They should have did it like a couple weeks ago when you had those spring breakers that were.
And Florida is one of the cheapest places to run stuff because they don't have as many restrictions.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like there's a lot of college kids were on the beach. Which not the media but the media was trying to. They need that rowdy. I was like, get out of here. But
and I take it like even if they don't want to do the beach stuff because maybe that'd be a little bit like they don't want to minimize the amount of people that can show up at the event. That's cool for like if they do like like one of those super shows or something with NXT and WWE and all that, and they just want or like an NXT exclusive pay-per-view at the pool thing because NXT has a small enough audience where it makes sense. As far as the mainstream, at the very least, why is SummerSlam not outside? SummerSlam, what's the spring pay-per-view? Maybe they can have a King of the Ring with like an outside thing, like in Las Vegas at Caesar's Palace. We need to see venues outside. It is no way SummerSlam's not outside.
Why don't they bring back Bash at the Beach? You can have Bash at the Beach in the spring, and you have summer.
Right, Bash at the Beach should be like in June or something like that. Money in the Bank needs to go back to WrestleMania. Money in the Bank does not need to be.
Yeah, I've been saying that for the longest
back at WrestleMania.
Agreed.
Yeah, and even Jason agrees with that. Like they need to put that back because it's another special match to put that. What's up? Sorry.
Oh no, I was just saying I've been saying that for a decade because like at the Money in the Bank pay-per-view you have 2 Money in the Bank matches, and to me that's overdone because I feel like the briefcase meant something when it was just one.
Right.
And there were
if you're gonna have
2,
only one female, one male. If you're gonna do 2.
Yeah, but even then, I still feel like just the winners that they pick and what they do with the briefcase. It's just I don't know. It's
the
just
last
so
couple has been Triple H decisions. When Big E as a baby face wins the Money in the Bank, you're in trouble. When Nikki Ash, which that was a joke about her butt, wins the Money in the Bank, something is wrong. Now, heel Nikki Cross, I'm fine with her winning the briefcase. The crazy wild one, that would have been a nice little wild. But that briefcase is designed for people like Carmella, who won the first one, and people like Mandy Rose or JC Jane, or even what I do you one better, who's been grossly misused. Lacey Evans will be a great choice to win in the Money in the Bank because people think she's bad in the ring. All she got to do is clock somebody with that briefcase, hit them with the women's right, and that's it. Or hit them with the women's right, beat them with the briefcase, and pin them. That is how you maximize people's limited abilities. And this is what I learned from people like Paul Heyman. You have to have, like, almost all his matches need to be short. Have him come out there and clobber the shit out of somebody in the match. That's how you get almost over. It's just
I have a theory about Lacey Evans and why she's not getting booked. I feel like she probably has heat with people in the back because she's a Trump supporter. She's a Republican supporter.
Probably.
And, you know, wrestlers are SJWs. You know,
and she spoke out about that abortion and all that stuff. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, and I'm sure that is that, and the fact that she's just not a smart, friendly character. Like, she's a Vince McMahon creation, and Vince McMahon is seen very unfavorable. Fox specifically, with the 2019 extension, they asked for Lacey Evans to come to SmackDown. No, that was a little later. That was in 2021. They asked for her, and they wanted Becky Lynch and Roman Reigns. Those were three specific. Then it was like, hell, give us Ronda Rousey. They specifically because more Republicans watch Fox News. That's why they wanted Lacey Evans over there. She had a Republican-friendly come. And ironically, guess where Raw is suffering selling out arenas at? In the South, because people don't care about that SJW shit down South. That's partially why I want to move down South. I'm getting sick of this bullshit. And it's a lot of other reasons. Chicago's expensive. The weather, they don't fix anything. And then a bunch of these people, I'm sick of them holding, clogging up traffic, protesting about stupid crap. When I need to get to work. But yeah, and then I'm more of a gun-friendly person, which is a Southern thing too. But yeah, it's just like they're having a hard time selling stuff in the South because the South don't care about that stuff.
Yeah, I agree.
I can agree because even my hometown here in Houston, Texas, the wrestling shows aren't really selling as well as they used to. And Houston's kind of a hotbed for wrestling.
It is. Mm-hmm. It always has been since the 80s until recently. Yeah. We're going to do like another 10 minutes, y'all. We'll be done.
I lived in Oklahoma. Oklahoma is one of the cheapest states, and wrestling doesn't. I really don't hear no one talk about wrestling.
And Oklahoma was a hotbed for wrestling in the 80s for Mid-South and all that, even to the early 90s with USWA. Oklahoma was a hotbed for wrestling. Now it's just people, they don't have anything. And I'm not saying you have to have dated racist characters. Obviously, we're in the 21st century. You cannot have dated wrestlers anymore. But you can have something that's not offensive. Like, people from the South, women down South watch football. I have several female friends that watch football down South. Women are attracted to sports like that, especially Southern women. They like barbecue. They watch sports. They like boxing. It's these so-called college-educated, woke North American women that ruin crap. And then WWE got a nerve to put them in the boardroom to write. The fact that woman did not know who Bobby Lashley was when he was the world champion, Stephanie McMahon should have been fired that day for hiring somebody foolish like that. How the hell does she not know who Bobby Lashley was? What's that?
If they're going to hire college kids, because not all college kids are liberal, especially in the South. I live in Oklahoma, and Jason can probably attest this too. Is that a lot of college kids really don't say a lot of woke stuff. I feel like when a lot of people talk about the woke stuff with the younger people, it has to be up north in places like California, because I don't really see that down here.
It's highly concentrated there, but you'll be surprised. It's coming down south too. It's there. It might not be as bad. It's there though. It's there. Especially in the big city. Now, maybe the small suburban towns in South. No, the big cities that are becoming more purple democratically, like Houston, Dallas, it's coming. Atlanta. It's starting to be there. Mm-hmm. It's starting to be there. But you're right. I mean, I'm sure it's worse in the north.
And that's exactly
Cali and New York.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, even Houston's more democratic than it was a decade ago. So, I can attest to that.
California floodgates.
But yeah, of course, it's way worse in California and New York. Of course it is.
But what I was getting at with this is that I don't. If you're gonna sign college women, why not just get the ones from from the South, like Oklahoma or Florida.
Sure. Or just women that just have a clue, because Kathy Kelly, and Charlie Caruso, those are two hip women that understand wrestling.
Hey, she's a baddie right there.
Both of them look good.
Both of them are.
Yeah, both of them look good. Even Moxley's wife, Paquette. She's a good journalist. Like, people used to rag on her with commentary. Anybody that's the third commentator is going to be in the depth slot. Commentary teams are designed for two people because you have one that's impartial and the other one goes for the heels. It's just that simple. When you put a third person, that's like every once in a while, and they're usually like a guest wrestler that's giving commentary on a match that they probably going to interfere in or that they need to give context for the story. That's the only time you really should have a third person. Any other time, I don't care, male, female, tree, animal, they're not going to have all they're going to do is be able to exclaim, "Oh, yeah!" That's all. What is it left for them to say? The story is being told by the play-by-play guy, or not the story. The moves are being said by the play-by-play, and it's the context and story is the color guy. Like, what is it left for them to do? So I thought people were a little too hard on Renee Paquette. I think she's actually pretty good.
I think Kayla Braxton is good too. The problem is that she just runs her mouth too much.
And she's a good backstage interviewer. Yes, she is.
If she was
the best 3-man commentary to me, the only time it worked was in WCW when you had Larry Zbyszko, Tony Schiavone, and Mike Tenay. To me, that's the only time it worked.
Maybe. I have to go back and listen to them because I don't recall that, but that sounds like a good commentary team. Now, I would give you one I didn't mind that much. Booker T, JBL, and King. It was not that bad. It was not that bad because I think all those guys are in a row. Say it again. What did you say, Jason?
No, I just said, they were actually pretty good too. You had, they all had their own, defining commentary style, which is what made it work.
Right. And Lawler was kind of the professional who kind of held the thing together, whereas Booker T and JBL were more character driven. But it worked. It worked for what it was. And I cannot emphasize, and just to tie this back full circle with Vince McMahon and Donald Trump, why do you think, despite people hating them, why do you think they're so popular as business people? One thing business people or any type of politician have in common, they have charisma and they have a cult of personality. You can dislike them all you want. It is a reason that they're successful. Why do you think the following people, even Obama, for a liberal, who this country tends to dislike liberals quite a bit, especially a person with Obama, boy, he had a bear to carry because he was black. He had a lot of stuff working against him. I wasn't the biggest fan of Obama, but they screwed him. They screwed him very badly. I mean, don't get me wrong. He deserved to be held accountable for certain bad things he did. However, they didn't give him a fair shot in a lot of things either. But it is a reason that Democrat or the following presidents have failed. Hillary Clinton, well, she was a president perspective. Joe Biden, and I'm trying to think somebody before that. Well, mainly those two. The reason that nobody wanted them in there because they're not relatable. Hillary Clinton's a serious, dry, evil cyborg. Nobody, even though she's a very intelligent woman, and obviously she knows a lot of stuff about policy, she was a dry, evil cyborg. And then Joe Biden he has brain damage. You can't even understand what he's saying half the damn time. So, like, nobody was going to take him serious as president, no matter what he knew. People like cult of personality people, good or bad. They were always going to be leaders of organizations for that exact reason.
I have to agree. Well, to be honest, I agree with. I would agree. I agree on the Obama personality part, but I can't stand him, especially his wife. His wife ruins school lunches for me, so I hold that vendetta against him.
That's understandable. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's talking about Hillary Clinton. How about you talk about her husband? Well, it's a he. Party is a he, but her husband, Bill Clinton, I can't stand him either. I don't know.
Horrible for minorities, for black and brown people with that 3-strap, with him criminalizing cocaine and all that, which he knew that was heavily in black and Latino neighborhoods. Yeah, he was horrible.
And don't forget, like, he made a joke. The Monica Lewinsky stuff.
Yeah, of course. You know what I mean? But he was still charismatic. I mean, he was a charismatic, especially for a Democrat. He was charismatic, minus all the stuff, the horrible stuff they did to minorities. He was charismatic. So those people are. I don't think Trump's going to eat much of this time, dude. He might be on probation or something. I think this was just a ploy and what do we call it again? A witch hunt. Because they knew he was going to run again in 2024.
Yeah.
I don't understand the amount of irrational people that don't want. He gave y'all free money that qualified, which was most of this country. About 70 to 80% of this country got free money for sitting at home. The Obama administration gave tax breaks to businesses and stuff like that.
Well,
y'all have to stop being silly when it comes to analyzing products. Stop with all this orange man bad crap. Stop going off people's personality. A politician that does a job for you, you vote for them, and that's it. They don't have to be your friend. You don't have to buy T-shirts, and you don't have to go to dinner with them. It's not about that.
Yeah.
They have a job to do. You have one. It's just that simple. Stop turning these people into celebrities and stuff.
Another problem that I have that now that with Biden is that the American dollar is pretty much is crushing. There are a lot of countries around developing their own currency, like China and Russia is teaming up, and that is bad because if a lot of these countries drop the U.S. dollar as standard, that the American dollar is going to go down the absolute drain, which means a lot of people is going to become poor here in the States, which means digital currency is going to come, and when digital currency comes, we are fucked.
Yeah, probably. It's been a great discussion. Let's end this with a game. Let's do like a game or something. I usually do let's do these two. Let's do F Mary Kill, and I call one called Beer Slap Business. So basically, with Beer Slap Business, we pick 3 people. We have to have a beer with one, slap one, and start a business with one. So we'll do. I haven't done this in a while, but this is usually a staple on my show. And like I said, you guys are welcome to come back kind of whenever. When we do something, we'll do another one. If I could think of something to do, maybe tomorrow. If not, definitely Saturday. If SmackDown does something cool, like some cuts or something, we could do something on Friday. But I doubt SmackDown does anything, especially with Raw being terrible this week. And maybe the wrestlers are still on break. I don't know, maybe into next week. But Saturday we'll do something again. I like to kind of about this open discussion forum. I would like to do this once a week. If we could stick to the Tuesday format, as long as I don't have to work, that's fine with me. But we'll find a day. I'll communicate it with y'all. But let's end with this game. We're going to do F, Marry, Kill, and Beer Slap Business. So let's do Beer Slap Business because I like to start with men and get them out the way and end with women. So it's just that simple. So Beer Slap Business, we're going to do the businessman edition. So since these two are up here, Donald Trump, Vince McMahon, and let's throw a wild card up in there. Let's do somebody that's kind of like people kind of irritated by. Let's do Ben Shapiro. Let's do Ben Shapiro. Donald Trump, Vince McMahon, Ben Shapiro. Beer Slap Business. Jason, go ahead and go first.
Okay. This one's pretty interesting. I guess I'll probably have a beer with Vince McMahon just because, like, man, once you get him drunk, I know he's gonna tell some crazy ass stories. So I can't wait for that.
Yeah.
As far as slap goes, I'm tempted to slap Donald Trump just because of some of the stupid things he's done, but I'm gonna go ahead and slap Ben Shapiro because this dude is annoying sometimes. I'm telling you.
Yeah. Yes.
As far as start a business goes, Donald Trump, this guy knows what he's doing. So.
Absolutely. You know what? I'm gonna mix it a little bit up for Omari so it don't be so repetitive. I'll keep Trump in there for you, Omari. I'm gonna go with Trump, Tony Khan, and let's do Trump, Tony Khan, and let's do you watch sports? Regular sports, Omari?
No, I do not.
Okay. Let's throw Dana White in there. Dana White, Tony Khan, Dana White, Tony Khan, Trump. Beer Slap Business.
Have a beer with Dana White because if I could get him drunk enough, he might give me some money.
Okay.
I give me some money, and hey, he might take me, he might take me out on a night on the town. He's rich, so I mean,
sure.
I would absolutely slap Tony Khan. I would slap some sense.
You slapped the shit out of him, huh?
I would slap some sense into him and tell him to stop being a retard.
Tell him you gave Omari the easier one.
Oh, you thought that was the easier one? Yeah, I guess when you put Tony Khan in there, yeah.
I definitely would have slapped Tony Khan in there, no hesitation.
Yeah, I think we all would universally slap Tony Khan.
No, I wouldn't just slap him. I would be like them '80s bullies from the movies from the '80s. Them bullies. So
yeah,
stuff him in the trash can. I would do that to him. He needs it.
All right, now y'all put y'all heads together and give me a beer slap business. Then I'll end with the F, Marry, Kill.
All right. We're gonna stick with Vince McMahon. Let's see who else. Trying to think of some businessman.
I'm familiar with other endeavors like music moguls. I know about sports people, so you could throw kind of anybody in there. I'm pretty well rounded with most executives and stuff.
All right, let's throw in Mark Cuban.
Okay.
And who else?
So we got Vince, Mark Cuban. You said Vince, right? Not Trump.
Yeah, Vince.
Vince, Mark Cuban. Okay. Omar, you want to throw a last one in there, maybe?
Yes, I do. I'm thinking of one. Does women count?
Say women for F, Marry, Kill. Try to make it a guy.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay.
Even if you can't, you can put a woman in there though. If you can't think of a guy.
I'm trying to make this hard. Nah, because if I say a woman, that would be easy. So I'll say Michael Jordan.
Oh man, you definitely made this easy for me. Okay, beer slap business. So we got Vince, Mark Cuban, Michael Jordan. I'm slapping the shit out of Michael Jordan. He's an embarrassment to black culture, so I'm smacking the fuck out of him. As far as business, this is a tough one because both of them are extremely good businessmen. I'm gonna go with Vince just because of the way he gets people to give him money. I'm gonna go with Vince on the bit. Mark Cuban, that was a tough one. He seemed like he'll be pretty cool to have a beer with. It seemed like he'll backdoor me on business because I don't know, man. He's a good businessman, but he makes sure he gets his money first. So yeah, I'll have a beer with Mark Cuban. But yeah, Jordan, when you put that up in there, I was grinning like the Grinch because I really don't like Michael Jordan. Outside of his court accolades, I don't like him. Give me an F, Marry, Kill because I'm in with y'all too on F, Marry, Kill. So give me one.
People grill LeBron for the stuff that he do, rightfully so. But
he's a much better businessman than Michael Jordan and way better for black culture. His wife is black. Come on now. You know what I mean? He started stuff in Akron where he went to school at, which is a poor area, and he's got black children. Like, come on. Michael Jordan is not even close, dude. Anybody that says that is just an NBA fan. That's all. They're not good people. You know what I mean? If they think that. Give me an F, Marry, Kill, and then I'm going to end with y'all too on F, Marry, Kill.
Okay.
All females.
I got one.
They don't have to be wrestlers, but they can be.
Smoke Show, Scarlett Bordeaux.
Okay. As far as Scarlett Bordeaux, who else?
The Smoke Show version.
The Smoke. Okay. It wouldn't have mattered which one it was. You could have just said her with she could have had on a burlap sack. I would still would have been fine with that. You know, because I know what she looked like under them clothes, so it don't matter.
A prime Trish Stratus.
Okay. Trish, Scarlett. Who else?
I'm gonna make this hard for you. I'm gonna make this.
Okay.
So you got
Trish, Scarlett.
Trish, Scarlett. Prime Sunny.
Sunny. Okay. Man. Okay. Yeah, you did make this hard because they all look good. So we got Trish, Sunny, Scarlett Bordeaux. Just because she's closer in my age, I have to marry. Then again, how much money? Scarlett hasn't made as much money as Trish. I'm gonna go with Trish for the marry. Definitely smashing Scarlett Bordeaux. And just because Sunny is nuttier than squirrel shit, I'm gonna go ahead and kill Sunny. I'm gonna off Sunny.
Yeah.
But yeah, I gotta marry Trish for that bread. And Scarlett, oh man, Scarlett would be a sex to it. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do with that one.
I'm gonna whip her out like the Godfather with the hose.
A hose train. Exactly. All right, I'm gonna go with Omari first this time since we went OSJ last time. Okay, first of all, I gotta ask the claim. Do either one of y'all like big chicks?
Big chicks?
Yeah.
Nah, I like my chicks to be skinny, and also like to save you. I like black women.
I mean, I'm not picky as long as they ain't overweight, you know.
Okay. All right, I think I got someone for OSJ then. Okay. All right, you said they got to be black. Since you said that, we'll make it a wild card. You got to do this. You got to do. You know what? Now for the first one, I'm gonna give you a courtesy. Next time, it got to be open ended. I'll give you a courtesy this time, Mario. So F, Marry, Kill. I'm gonna make this hard for you too. I'm gonna make this real hard.
Make sure
Kiera Hogan.
Kiera Hogan.
Naomi. And Bianca Belair.
Fuck this. I don't find any attractive, honestly.
That makes it even more interesting. Now you forced to do it.
Shit.
Kiera Hogan, Naomi, Bianca Belair.
Shit, I am a certified member of the milk train. Shit.
Yeah, Harry, I got a weakness for white women too. So.
And you limited yourself when you said black women. It could have been way better if you would have kept it open ended.
Yeah, you're right. I did.
Ain't that many cute black female wrestlers currently around?
Shit, that's hard. Shit, cause I just not attracted to black women. I'm a certified member in the milk train and I'm on the Mexican train.
Wait, I thought you said you wanted it to be black women. That's what I thought you said.
No, I said I don't like black women.
Oh, you don't like? Oh, okay. I misunderstand what you. Okay, okay. Scratch all of them. I don't. Okay, I love all women. Color don't matter for me, but I tend to date more black women. But I've dated Mexican women before, and a white one. Okay, so let's make it a bit more open. It makes sense now. Okay, I'm gonna give you the no. That's too. No, I'm gonna make it hard for you. I'm gonna give you the toxic attraction verse. Basically, toxic attraction, including Mandy Rose, F, Mary, Kill. I'm gonna make it hard for you, brother. Omar.
Damn, fuck. Shit, that's hard.
And you said you liked white women, right? OSJ.
Yeah. Well, I'm not picky either. I like any kind, but I just meant like I got a weakness for white women.
We man's over here.
They got to be curvy. I'm not gonna lie. White girls got to have some curves for me to talk to.
We certified milkmans over here. We got the curd angle milk. We jugging it together like it's too.
Shoot, I'll be driving that cart.
Toxic attraction, Mark.
I'm gonna marry Mandy Rose because she's making money with the OnlyFans. So
sure,
me, you know,
back the Brink store up to the fucking door. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm a pimp her out like Flavor Flav on Pimp My Ride.
Damn, I don't know if I want to pimp my wife out, but yeah, maybe a side chick, but not my wife. Yeah.
Yes. I'll put it like this. Well, I'm the Godfather.
Train. Yeah.
I'm absolutely smacked. That shit. Nah.
This last one, the F should be pretty easy, but I can't think for you. But
well, it is easy face wise, but you gotta realize, but you also gotta think of how many people has ran through it. Has she been ran?
Hey, a smash is a one-off thing. That's it. Look at it like as a one-off thing. Yeah, even though some women you will consistently smash, but in this case, you can look at it as a one-off.
Yeah, you're right, but you never know. You smash at one time, then you come home, and then you come home, and you got STDs or something.
I might be willing to risk that with Gigi Dolan. I'm not gonna lie to you. Just to say I did that one time, at least one time. You just have to do some penicillins or something, brother. So you have to work it out.
Well, then shit. I'm gonna smash Gigi Dolan, but I'm gonna need some extra protection. I'm gonna need that quadruple or protection. You don't know what's been there. You don't know what's been.
I don't think he's been with that many people. The only people I know confirmed is Darby Allin. That's it. Yeah, I'm sure maybe it's been others, but Charlotte might have been with just as many people. We won't know because she's bad as hell. What was that, OSJ?
I mean, true, but
that she got a high body count or what?
That's what Omari thinks, but there's no confirmation in that. He just speculated.
I wouldn't doubt it, but
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it either. You know what I mean? I would hope somebody ran through that. Then again, these dudes now like dudes, so who knows? Like with previews coming, they like guys, so we don't. Kenny Omega over here wrestling Kota Ibushi with goddamn jock straps. I doubt he want to smash G Dolan. Most of these dudes smash each other, or they game controllers probably.
They not even that. They on that R. Kelly shit. They
right with little kids. Yeah, you're right about that. Goddamn Austin Theory was alleged. Fucking Velveteen Dream, dude from Jack Gallagher and all. I'm like, I don't know what's wrong with these dudes, man. Kenny Omega wrestling little girls and blow up dolls, and these dudes are fucking weird. But anyway, let's please get next dudes out of our heads. But
we have got the modern day R. Kelly button in wrestling.
Yep. So let's pass to OSJ, because obviously the JGG will be the off for Mari. Let's see what I can give you. You said you kind of like big women. I'm gonna throw you a wild card up in there, Mari. I'm gonna throw you said you don't mind big women, as long as they're not overweight. Would you consider Nia Jax extremely? Matter of fact, I ain't gonna give you an option. Nia Jax. Let me give you a nice Latina. Who's a cute? A lot of people like Zelina. She's kind of 50-50. Don't get me wrong, she's a great person, but she's not that cute to me.
Yo, I like Tina. Tina Morella's daughter.
Oh yeah, she's a bit young. You talking about Bianca Corelli? She's too young. She's cute. We're gonna do Nia, Ivelisse, even though Ivelisse is Puerto Rican. We're gonna do Ivelisse. Nia Jax, Ivelisse. Let me give you somebody with some money.
Some money. Let me
give somebody with some money.
I think I got a nice one. Ooh, I got a nice one. I'm trying to think of a real baddie for you. I'm trying to think.
Put Eve Torres up in there. She should have some money.
All right. Nia Jax, Eve Torres, and Ivelisse?
Yep.
All right. And I was just going to say, too, about the whole Amari thing, talking about pimping his wife, talking about pimping Mandy Rose. It kind of reminded me of on King of the Hill when Snoop Dogg was playing that pimp.
I didn't
He-
see
he
that,
was
but I'll
talking-
look that up. It sounds funny. I've
He
never
was
seen
telling
it.
Hank was saying that Peggy was his wife and Peggy was dressed like a hoe.
Yeah.
Hank was like, "That is my wife," and Snoop Dogg's all like, that's the biggest mistake a pimp can make, marrying one of his hoes."
That is that sound like such a Hank, and I love King of the Hill too. That sound like such. They revamped. It's probably gonna be cucky, but I'm gonna check. I'm gonna give it a try. I'm gonna give it like a 3 or 4 episode try, and if it's terrible, I'm done with it.
And my judge is a part of it, then I have fake because the Beavis and Butthead reboot is not. It's not.
That's
woke.
true. It's actually pretty good. You're right about that. But
I-
Evil
All right,
eats her ass, Nia Jax. Sorry.
All right, Mary, I'm gonna go with. Probably gonna have to go with Eve Torres on this one, just because I feel like she's more wife material.
Yeah, she is.
You know, and that's really what I'm into. You know, one off smash, definitely Evilise.
Oh yeah.
I can't pass that up right there. As far as Nia Jax, I'm not
Absolutely
attracted to her, so you know I can easily,
offer.
you know,
Nia
get rid of
Jax.
her. Yeah,
Yeah.
ignore her. You know, whatever.
Yeah.
I would. I probably wouldn't kill her, but ignore her
Right.
definitely.
Yeah, you know, yeah, over there. I'll pass you one of them. I will say this about Nia Jax though: when she's in good shape, she's a pretty lady. She's letting herself go the last couple years. I don't know if it's stress or whatever it is, but she's definitely letting herself. She was so heavy she was like big in the Royal Rumble. She was, which is why she probably haven't been back on TV because I'm pretty sure she's back with the company, but she has not been on TV since the Royal Rumble.
How much does she weigh?
But Nia Jax has to be like 280 or 290 by now.
Damn.
She has to be like 280, 290 by now. But yeah, thank you, fellas. We ran long with this one, but it was fun. Some of them will run long. I generally don't go super long, but if it's a good one and for a good reason, we was able to keep OSJ a little longer today because he was only on maybe 30 or 40 minutes yesterday. But it's always nice. You guys welcome back whenever. I would love to do a super show where like everybody, all 5 of us, other Jason and JoJo, that will be fire. Like we might get that's gonna shut the internet down. Like that's gonna be the most popular podcast ever. Screw what these marks are talking about.
Hey, I'm gonna leave off the hot take. Smoke Show Scarlet Bordeaux, in my opinion, is hotter than Attitude and Sable.
She's hotter than damn near everybody wrestling right now. I mean, I will. Yeah, she's dude. The outfits that she wore were insane. But
I put her over Attitude and Sable any day.
But I mean, at this point, all we can do is hope wrestling gets better. Honestly,
yeah.
Endeavor. I mean, we'll know in the next 4 weeks. I won't expect TV to be good for a while. Only thing we know for certain that's going to happen is Brock Lesnar and Cody. That's probably going to happen at Backlash. That's all we know for certain that's going to happen with that. Cody's probably going to go over. Brock's probably going to take a break and go do something else for a while. All we can do is be optimistic. WWE could take our ideas about, adding freshness to the program to new writers, Brian Panties, cutting people, having more emphasis on star power and all that type of stuff. But until they take our ideas, man, I mean, it's going to stay the way it is. You know what I mean? It's not a whole lot we can do. Is that fair to say, OSJ?
Yeah, I'd say, if they don't take our ideas, it's arguably going to get worse, because I feel like with Triple H in charge, it could possibly go downhill from here. A lot of people are saying this was one of the worst Raw episodes in history, and I believe it, and we're going to be seeing more of that.
Yeah. And hopefully they improve it because something is telling me that SummerSlam is going to be better than WrestleMania. But knowing with how WWE is, who knows, man? If it depends on how much influence Triple H regime has. But yeah, we'll catch y'all soon. I'll be in contact with everybody I can tell you for certain I'm doing a show on Saturday because UFC, the Adesanya fight. That card is fire, so we're covering that. I don't know if OSJ is an MMA fan or not, but you're welcome to join us if you are. Are you an MMA fan?
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Okay.
I casually watch it here and there.
Casual. Okay, that's the cat. I'm kind of the same. JoJo's more of the purist on my show. He knows everything about it. But yeah. So I'll catch y'all soon. Thank you again, Omari and OSJ, and I'll talk to y'all soon this week. I'll let y'all know what's up, man. Thank y'all as always. Bless everybody's family and be safe.
Thank you, brother.
Yep. Thank you. Later, man.
Later.